a negative over and over and over again. But I also have always said, at least on this show over the years, that we're not going to run from things, and we're certainly going to have these kinds of conversations where, even if it's uncomfortable, then you have to have the discussion and be honest with your listeners. You have to be able to say what's actually happening, or at least start discussing some of the things you think are going to happen or what could possibly be the result of an event or something along that line. Hey, that works, guys. We should just use that one. It's like a fireside chat, very dark. Here we go, everybody. I'll find a way and move it around later. But you get to see a really cool shirt. There you go. That's what you guys get. So we'll do that with the news out of the ACC and where this looks like it's heading. And I can't sit here and tell you that I feel real good right now about Florida State's situation. I know that this has been a week where I've had sort of the existential dread come out of me, where I've had to say, look, I'm not real comfortable with where we're at. I'm not happy with a lot of situations and things that are happening. It sucks. It sucks, and I think we're in a little bit of trouble. It's not the end of the world, but I think we're in a little bit of trouble. Now, why don't we start here first? The plains into the side of the mountain, if you will, with the basketball program. It's a terrible set of circumstances in which it looked like to me, maybe in that first half, was that a quit going on there? Did that feel a little quitty to you?
I mean, if you make 5 baskets,
right. I mean,
5.
There's a part of me that's kind of like, that could just be really poor play. They could have just played really poorly. That's not the same as quitting. And it matters. It matters greatly. It's not the same as quitting. But, prior to last night, Tom, they've played really well at home. We were 8-2 at home heading into the game last night. Our only 2 losses of the season at home were to ranked teams that were significantly better than Florida State. Florida, who's currently ranked number 5, and Louisville. Those are the 2 losses that Florida State had at home. So I would have said, okay, well, fair enough. You lost a couple games at home, but they were against good teams. Virginia Tech came in last night, 8-12, 1-3 in true road games. The single road win came at Cal, by the way, a team we just lost to on the road. And I thought, okay, well, we'll get a bounce back effort. It turns out to be disastrous. And you talk about going through the motions. First 20 minutes of this game, it's 35-15. That is the lowest first half scoring effort this season. Could have been worse if the Hokies had even shot well in the first half. They didn't. We're down 35-13, folks, and they were 13-32. They were 6 of 19 from 3 and 13 for 32, and you're down 35-15. Florida State shot 21% in the first half. 0 from beyond the arc. Now, I can only imagine what was said at halftime. Seemed to resonate. They fought a lot harder, but that's a combination of played better, fought harder, and, oh, by the way, human nature took over. Virginia Tech is kind of half-assing things in the second half once they realized, oh, you're not here to play. You're not interested. Score whatever it was. We shot the lights out in the second half, scored 51 points and shot 55% and 8 of 17 from 3, which is nearly 50%. So all of a sudden, when you look at the box score, if you didn't watch the game and you look at the box score, it's comically close. You're like, oh, well, a very even, close, hard fight. No, man, this game was an ass kicking. They went through the motions in the second half. And we were able to, at one point, cut it to 6. Anyhow, we lose the game. The season's over. They're not going to the NIT. They're not going to the NCAA tournament. It's another wasted year of Florida State basketball. And you marry that with this situation with the ACC off of a 2-10 football season. And sweet Jesus, we are just disinterested in being taken seriously. I mean, thank God this baseball team is good.
Hopefully.
They'll be good. They may not be as good. You know the numbers from yesterday that I ran through, which to lose that many RBIs and that much power means you're going to take a step back offensively, but they'll be good. They'll pitch. They'll pick it up. They play smart. They'll be good enough. But God, dog, man, it's one punch to the boys after the next. As Tom likes to say, speed bagging. I mean, that's just right now, over and over again. Can we get this week over with? It's difficult to watch your program. Look, soccer is awesome. Softball's really good. Gotcha. I like that. I like that they're good. I root for every Florida State program to be the best in the country. I want our swimming program, which I don't even, do we even still swim? Do we swim at all? I don't think we ever do anything. But anyhow, the point is, I want tennis and swimming and badminton and anything else to be good. I want it all to be good. But let's be honest, the big three is kind of your front-facing. This is the view to the university athletically that people get. How are you in college football, first and foremost? That's the biggest thing. I'm not talking academics, guys. That's a separate discussion. Florida State has continued to rise the ranks, through the ranks as a public institute. They've done a great job. They continue to do a great job there. They're getting better and better, but that's all well and good. I'm talking about athletics. So how are you in college football? Well, how are you in college basketball? Non-existent. Thank you very much. About 25 people at the game. Team sucks. Seems like we're going through the motions. No investment. No real idea where it's headed. Thanks for asking.
There have been issues.
You forgot to ask me about how baseball's doing, because I'll tell you, we're really good. Thanks for asking. Well, last year, last 4 teams standing. Yeah. Get you some of that. How's that going for you? You know, that's it can only go up from here.
You sure about that?
Well, you cannot do worse than 2-10 with our schedule coming up in football.
Oh, well, if you're just looking at
you cannot.
2025. I was just wondering about your outlook on the long-term viability of the program and so forth with today's news. Well, today's reporting. Should put it a little differently.
Well, I respect both Ross Dellinger and David Hale, so I'm sure that's accurate reporting. And given what I'm reading, it's not good. This feels an awful lot like a precursor to being stuck in this also ran league. And I'm going to wait before I completely lose it in regards to all of this. I'm going to wait because there's a part of me, and I was jotting in my notes here. I've learned from you, sir. I will take some damn notes on my phone. I never used to. I never used the notes function ever until golf with you, and you're like, put that in your notes. And I was like, what, does he really do that? He breaks out the phone and gets the notes out, and like a swing thought after a successful round. Let's say you have a day where you just flush your irons. What were you doing? What were you thinking about standing over your irons? Put it in your notes. Tom used to say this to me all the time.
I did. Well, yeah, for the breakthrough moments. It's usually when bad turns to good, how did you get there?
Yeah.
Because for me, what I'd like to build over time, and I haven't hit enough permutations, because golf will just find a new way.
Oh, every time. Golf's like, oh, you figured that out, did you? Get you some of this.
It's the ultimate whack-a-mole game.
Yeah.
Not named whack-a-mole.
Why did I start doing that? I never used to tilt my head backwards when I hit the ball, but I am today.
I'd like to have a glossary, an index,
Yeah.
to where I can look at, in your brain, you think this. How did you get out of this with what? And if enough situations of you think you're too open, but my man, you're closed by several degrees. Open your hips up. You'll be fine. I'd like to have that for every situation.
Me too. So here's what I'll tell you for this situation, for the, looks like we're stuck in the ACC for the foreseeable future scenario, the disastrous scenario of being stuck in this lesser league. Wanting more, but given less opportunity and less money to do so. Boy, that's a toughie. That's a toughie because you're going to demand the same. You're going to demand the upper echelon expectations of a football program that is as storied as Florida State is. You're going to go into those games and seasons expecting that those you seek to compete with, who are right there in your footprint, Florida, Miami, Georgia, Miami's stuck in the same situation we are, but yeah, Georgia, LSU, Alabama, Southeast footprint, got it. You're expected to compete with all of the nation's best football programs if you're at Florida State. That's what you're hired to do as a coach. That's your mandate. If you're the athletic director, you better or you'll be fired. That's the whole deal. We know that. We're not lessening expectations. We're not lowering expectations. You're not going into a season and saying, well, realistically, guys, if we could just get to a bowl, you're never going to do that. You're never going to do that. But soon, if we continue down this path, it would be the right expectation. It'd be the right way to look at it, to keep yourself from being disappointed, bitterly disappointed. Because that's exactly what's going to happen if you continue to be $20 and $30 million in the hole compared to those whom you seek to compete with on an annual basis.
Peer institutions.
That's exactly what you're going to have to do, is get used to some 8-4 and liking it. Rolling into some nondescript change your name every year bowl and hoping like hell that maybe, just maybe, next year's different, knowing it won't be. That's where you're headed if you continue to have to take this much of a haircut while trying to compete with the best programs in the nation, especially in an era where money has never been more important, with all of the extra that's necessary now that is asked of the fans. You fund the NIL. You fund all these changes. You do all these things.
That's what was going on today at the Board of Governors meeting for the state. All of the state institutions get together and they're talking about how they don't know how they're going to clear the $20.5 million hurdle. Where's it going to come from?
Oh,
I don't understand.
Yeah.
Maybe if we levy a talent fee.
Yeah, if we screw over our alumni and fan base, that if we do, how much can we screw these people over? That's what I'm here to ask you, Ted. I know you screwed over your fans a year ago, and I thought it was cute the way you did it. What was it you called it? Yeah, well, we're going to have to come up with our own catchy term for when we bend them over again. Maybe we can start another fundraising campaign. This is, buddy, it's hard to be positive. It's hard to be optimistic if what we're talking about ends up happening. Now, back to why I told you I was breaking out my notes. I warned myself about today's show.
On the heels of yesterday's dread
Oh, no, I was having an existential dread yesterday, and I've had it all week. This week has not been a good week.
And the fun part is you got some material evidence to justify your dread today.
My spidey senses have been going off for months, and I've been nervous about this, and I haven't liked it, but I've told myself to shut up about it because people don't want me rolling in here on a daily basis telling them all they're dead.
Is this your 2016 Louisville road trip moment
Oh,
for the
man.
health of the athletic department? Because if it is, then we're not done yet.
Yeah, for those of you that are newer to the program and don't know this, I've gotten a lot of things wrong over the years, and I've gotten a lot of things right, and a whole bunch of both, okay, and in between, right? People only remember the last thing you got wrong, and they'll dwell on it, but they don't celebrate forevermore the things you got right. But I've never been more right in my life than I was leading up to the Louisville game. When I said to Tom, and I told my listeners way back then in 2016, this feels wrong. I think we're going to get crushed. I think we're going to take an epic ass beating. Everything seems off right now. I don't like this. I don't think they're healthy over there. I think that this is the beginning of the end for Jim. But you knew it, and I was saying it. This is going to be awful. It's on game day. Those people are going to care. They got a quarterback that can do something about it. We're not interested in tackling anybody.
I mean, damn it, they've got a Muhammad Ali sticker on their helmet.
This is going to be a problem. And when we don't match the energy, they're going to run it up. And at the time, I said they got a coach who won't be afraid to hang 80 on you. And we got lucky that he didn't, because he could have scored 100, and I believe that.
And he since said he regretted that he did not.
He wanted to. He should have done it. I would have done it if I were him. Anyhow, let that be a lesson to any coach. If you got a chance to drop a number on somebody, you do it. You end them. But anyhow, the point would be, I hated that feeling all week, 2 weeks leading. I hated it. And we went on the air and talked about it, and then it happened. Then the bludgeoning occurred. I remember I was getting emails from people who blamed me. That was my favorite part. You happy now, a-hole? No, I was trying to tell you what's going to happen. So I've tried to learn from that, and I know that I'm not pessimistic by nature. I wouldn't say that's true, but I am a realist. I am pragmatic. So I said a couple things. Unless there's some sort of deal in the works, and there might be, we're certainly hearing that part of it, that if there is a settlement on the horizon for Florida State and Clemson to stay in the ACC and to be part of this at least till 2031, which, just saying out loud, makes me sick to my stomach. But 2031 is a significant number because that's when college football basically renegotiates. The Big Ten and the SEC, their contracts.
Right. 2030 opt-outs into the 2031 year. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is a day of reckoning. And the opportunity, I suppose, at that point to maybe play musical chairs again and get somewhere far more beneficial than this conference. And if in this deal, I mean, we'll see. If in this deal that the ACC and Clemson and Florida State agree to, if that is to happen, and maybe, just maybe, they have us within $5 to $10 million because of added means by which to make money. It could very well just be that ESPN actually steps in to keep us from Fox and appease us because the SEC doesn't want to expand. They've done things like this before. They can do that. They can manipulate the chess pieces. So I don't care how it gets done. But you got to be within striking distance, within a reasonable striking distance, again, of those that you seek to compete against for playoff spots, national titles, etc. Player personnel, let's just talk about it like it is. It's pro football. You got to be within striking distance to be able to afford the best coaches, the best facilities, and the best players. Or you'll just get outbid by groups that are making $40 million more than you annually. It's over. That's the end of it. You're done. So you get me to that number, and possibly we do. All right, then this is fine. will stay here. I don't have to like it, and it will still always be a bit of a hindrance because, believe me, on the recruiting trail, this is something wrought with danger. Florida State's coaches are constantly having to combat a very real concern from student athletes, future student athletes, who say, I don't want to play in the ACC. It's not the big boy league that the SEC is. It's not what the Big Ten is. I've got offers, coach, to play in the league that ESPN favors, in that Fox favors. Why would I come to you? So I could play a couple Friday night games, get shipped out west to play at 10 o'clock at night? Sort of be the best of the rest, maybe? Get excluded from a playoff if it came down to who's getting in, 12 or 13? That 13th team is in the SEC. I know Florida State's 12th right now, but I think we should replace them because that's exactly what they'll do. And then they'll do it, if they don't do it with them, with a Big Ten school. And you'll always be on the outside looking in. If it comes down to it and it's 50-50, you're effed. So it feels like we're teetering on the edge of disaster. And it would be nice if somebody in the administration, in the athletic department, would run to the nearest microphone when they get a chance today to help talk us off the ledge. Because I can guarantee you their constituents today are very nervous about what they're reading, what they're hearing, what the rumor is in regards to the ACC extending the TV contract with ESPN for 9 more years and what that means for Florida State. What that means for this league, but what that means for Florida State specifically. Obviously, that's who I'm addressing today. That's who I care about. So, and I'll get more details for those that don't really know what I'm prattling on about. But we'll cite the stories today and give you some more specifics about the reporting centering around this this story with the ACC and what that does for Florida State potentially, or doesn't do, more importantly. Oh, yeah, and the basketball team is just kind of floating about the ether, losing on a regular basis.
That could be nudged to the side today, I think, right?
But I think it's so emblematic. We're just so like, oh, okay.
Yeah, this fog is not getting thinner, it's getting denser. And now you're losing perception of everything. Depth. Can't see your feet underneath you. It feels overwhelming. Oh my God, am I having trouble breathing? Right? That's the
that's an anxiety attack.
It is approaching. And I do feel some of the dread that you spoke of yesterday, but it's qualified dread. I do want to see what the university's response is. I do want to hear the back channel conversations. Now, they're tied up today because they were in the Board of Governors meeting, the power players. You got the president, the athletic director, the chairman of the board were all there in Jacksonville to talk about how, I don't know how we make this $20.5 million. It's actually closer to 23 if you really think about it, all the things that we have to incur for costs. And that's before we get into the revenue side of what comes in from the TV. So they're trying to figure out ways to change some rules, allow more money to come in for NIL so they don't have to cut things on the athletic department side right now. But cuts are coming. There's no way more cuts aren't coming unless you get out of this conference, because you have to have all available resources for football.
Pouring into football.
It has to.
Yes. Yes, it does. It just feels, if this were a professional sports league, like if this was a league, like I feel this about baseball right now, for example. I can't wait for baseball to start, Florida State baseball and professional baseball. Can't wait to go down to spring training. Can't wait to do all these things. Love the sport and all that. But they're at a crossroads too, and they're 2 years away from what is going to be a work stoppage. It's going to be a massive work stoppage because they never preemptively get out in front of anything to ensure that they don't screw the fans. So it's going to happen. And I feel that looming. You know how empty that will feel? Have a summer of no baseball? That's going to suck. But anyhow, that's 2 years from now. This is today. This is now. This is, oh, geez, really?
Maybe there'll be more ACC network revenue for baseball then. That could help because there'll be no competitor.
It's Jeff Cameron Show. We're off to a flying start. Good job. Thanks for hanging in. Deep breaths. I'll do the same.
Florida man, what's wrong this time?
Well, it's my alligator Hank again. It's so dang cold, he's been digging all these holes in my backyard trying to find some heat to keep himself warm. He doesn't want to come out to eat, so I have to yank him by his tail. Now my back is killing me again.
Poor Hank. I'm really sorry about your back pain.
You have any idea how hard it is to pull an alligator out of his heat hole when it's colder than a polar bear's toenails outside? Not to mention the added weight of the gold chain I bought Hank last year for his birthday.
Well, it's time to get you back in to see the doctors at Finn Chiropractic. You can book your appointment online, so there's no waiting in the cold.
You're right again. Look out, Dr. Finn. I'm coming in hot.
At Finn Chiropractic, they'll get to the root of your pain and deliver the solutions. Book your appointment online at finchiro.com, and you'll even get an online discount. Visit finchiro.com today and find your path to a pain-free tomorrow.
The best happy hour in the city is at Café de Martín and El Bar. All day, every day, you can find great deals at Café de Martín while enjoying the best outdoor seating Tallahassee has to offer. Sip away on 2-for-1 house wines, chilcanos, and margaritas all day long, Monday through Thursday. Plus 2-for-1 pisco sours and margaritas on Fridays and Saturdays, and 2-for-1 mimosas for Sunday brunch. Come join us at Café de Martín, where every hour is happy hour, in the Esposito Shopping Center on Capitol Circle Northeast.
Listen to what people are saying about ACL Home Inspections.
They took the time to explain every detail, providing clear insights and answering all of my questions.
I needed an inspection quickly. ACL scheduled me within 24 hours, and the inspector was able to arrive early. That was a huge bonus, and my 2 dogs absolutely adore him.
ACL Home Inspections will accompany you on a walkthrough inspection of the home you want to buy, then provide you with an easy-to-read digital report the same day. For homeowners planning to list their house on the market before putting it up for sale, ACL will provide you a pre-listing inspection.
As a very analytical person, I want to see all the details and ask questions. I interviewed 3 home inspection companies and was very impressed by ACL.
See for yourself what people are saying. Search ACL Home Inspections and find out more at aclhomeinspections.com or call 850-312-8919. 850-312-8919. Time. It's the one thing we never get back. We can't create it. We can't buy it. We can't store it somewhere. Once it's gone for good, which makes it the most valuable thing we have. The only real question is how we spend our time. So, how much time are you spending every day running in circles with a computer network using old software on old equipment that's wasting your time, that gets in the way and leaves you feeling angry and frustrated? Let's fix that. Call Crown Networking. They've been helping people just like you and I make the best use of their time for the last 20 years. Now is the time for you to make the call. Here's the number in Tallahassee, 850-999-0090, 999-0090, or online at crownnetworking.com. Oh, and talk to them about getting you a new phone system, too. You know, it's time.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
It's funny because we began the discussion, maybe some of that aforementioned existential dread that I was talking about, Tom, to start the week, and kind of you could sense it, the tenor of the show. I've been a little on edge about where I thought this was going to go and where things are going, and on the heels of what just happened and all of the different things. this doesn't come as a surprise today. This felt like this was going to happen. Like this news was this was what we were going to hear. Didn't you kind of think that too? Like this is what we were going to hear.
Honestly, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what ESPN's grand plan was, because the only way this works to me for the extension, because it's on ESPN to say yes. It's not that the ESPN ratifies the extension without ESPN giving the go-ahead. The only way this works to me is if ESPN isn't giving up anything more.
They're not going to give up
Because
anything more.
Jim,
The ACC is not in the place to leverage that.
Jim would have you believe that they,
Jim,
there are partners too.
No.
So because otherwise it's throwing a lot of money that they could use elsewhere right now, because this bubble is bursting in live sports and they need money to go elsewhere.
They feel it's an asset and that they're getting it on the cheap.
As long as Florida State and Clemson are a part
right.
of the asset.
If we were gone, they would have never agreed to this. They would have not exercised their option to extend. There's no way.
So this tells me that they believe that this can go the distance in court, or they come up with, or they have a settlement that they believe that will be palatable for all parties to keep the ACC in place.
And that's why I said, let's wait and hear what that is. If it gets us to within 5 to 9 million or so of those that we're competing against in the SEC and Big Ten, then I'll live with it. I mean, you're still going to try to get out of 2031.
Well, if these reports are accurate, yes. If with this settlement there comes a lowering or a discount, if you will, of the exit fee at that point, it should be zero, first of all.
Well,
not a discounted percentage of whatever revenues. But, in order to get within $5 to $9 million, this is the Hale and Andrea Adelson report earlier today. You have to shoot the moon, essentially, with the success initiatives by making the playoffs, and then also your brand initiatives, which would be this new thing that they would form.
They're going to add the
purposes.
Brand initiatives, right? So that would mean schools like Florida State, Miami, and Clemson, who by far and away should get the lion's share of the money based on brand recognition and brand promotion and the draw of said brands, right? Am I wrong on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you're correct.
Okay. So all of that, to your point, has to add up to us being within $5 to $9 million, so it'll be palatable.
Yeah, the language as it's written is, quote, between the brand and success initiatives, it is expected that so first of all,
we don't
there's
even
a
know.
hedge.
Yeah,
so there's a hedge.
Yeah.
It is expected that the ACC schools that maximize both revenue streams could, again, double hedge, close the gap with the Big Ten and SEC schools to as little as, third hedge in one sentence, a few million. You could lower it to a few million if you shoot the moon and all initiatives.
Massive if true, but let me just point out.
I mean, McHedgerson. And that's coming from Phillips, and it's verbatim written in the ESPN article because he's feeding them the intel. That's a Phillips pitch. Here's what could happen.
Of course it's a Phillips pitch, and he probably gave it to Dellinger too to some extent. And if I'm Florida State's athletic director and I have to now walk it back as much as I'm going to have to walk it back when we settle and stay in the ACC, I'm absolutely going to take that spoonful of Jim Phillips nonsense and tell everybody how grand it is.
Make sure it's not presented as fact, because we need to be sure that we say it is expected that ACC schools can maximize both revenue streams, and it could, okay?
Yeah.
Got that, David?
It could.
Andrea, could close the gap with the Big Ten.
Which is code for it's not going to.
As little as, okay? Again, remember language. As little as a few million.
Yeah.
A few million. What does a few mean? Let's not go into that.
No.
Okay? No follow-up questions. That's what we want.
A few is pretty much universally agreed to be 3 or more, but we're not going to get into that.
We could get it down to a couple if our CW
now we're at a couple. Couple is 2, Jim.
Well, if our CW partners, increase.
Is Dennis Miller out there?
Well, I got to tell you, Tom Brenneman has been an excellent addition to our broadcast.
Jesus. I'm going to do something I don't normally do, but here you go. We'll cut this up in pieces. ACC executives, I'm reading from Dellinger's story, are in the process of formally ratifying the extension of its television contract with ESPN for another 9 years, sources tell Yahoo Sports. In a long-expected move, ESPN is exercising the option in its agreement with the league. The network's extension takes the contract currently expiring in 2027 to the year 2036. The deal remains mostly unchanged. ACC presidents met Wednesday for a briefing and are expected to accept, if they have not already done so, the network's extension, though there is little to no other option. Bend over. That's how the call began with ESPN's executives. Jim, yeah. It's me, Kyle. Bend over.
Bend over.
Within the ACC's deal with ESPN, the network, not the league, is afforded the option to extend the package by its own discretion.
Bend over.
Again. Just keep that position on the ready.
Bend over.
As part of a scheduling arrangement under discussion, the league's biggest brands, Florida State, Clemson, and Miami, are expected to play more football games with Notre Dame. Oh, great. The Irish are expected to play, at the very least, 2 of the 3 each season in a rotation. The extension paves the way for the league to potentially finalize a settlement with both Clemson and Florida State that would keep them in the conference under possible alterations to the conference grant of rights and the league's revenue distribution structure, as Yahoo Sports reported in September. The sides negotiating for months now are inching closer to a resolution. The ESPN television contract is at the heart of the matter.
If we're inching closer, are we inches away, feet away, yards, nautical miles? Because you could be inching closer to something, but if it's, down in Miami and we're here, it's going to take a minute.
I'm inching closer to realizing we're an also-ran team, too, that doesn't matter in the big picture of college football for the foreseeable future under these conditions. Unless, again, we hear about an agreement that somehow, some way, by hook or by crook, and screw all the other teams in the league who will cry about it. Go to hell. You're useless. Unless we get to that magical $5 to $9 million or $5 to $7 million, whatever it might be, range of our competitors, it's all over but the shouting.
I would like to submit that 9 will be defined as a few in this discussion. Or that Florida State responds and says, we are vigorously pursuing our legal path.
Okay, so when we come back, let's talk about that aspect. There is something to, I'll quote Poison, believe in. Perhaps. Maybe. I doubt it. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
A homicide investigation is underway after a person was found dead early Tuesday morning. The incident unfolded when officers were dispatched to the 1800 block of Meriadoc Road in the Hidden Forest Villas neighborhood. Officers arrived at the scene after receiving a call about a person found dead in the roadway. A preliminary investigation indicated the death was a homicide. Anyone with information called Crime Stoppers at 850-574-TIPS. A Crawfordville man died Tuesday after his vehicle flipped over and crashed into a tree in Jefferson County. The wreck occurred at about 7:20 a.m. near the State Road 59 and Fanaloo Road intersection. The 42-year-old was driving an SUV south and failed to navigate the curve, causing the vehicle to travel onto the west shoulder. The driver overcorrected, causing the vehicle to flip over and crash into a large tree along the wood line. The driver, who was not wearing a seatbelt, was ejected from the car and was pronounced deceased at the scene. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 75. Southeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 54 tonight, partly cloudy skies. Chance of thunderstorms with fog early tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 75. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 71.
There he is. Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. U2 at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean?
No Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude, I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean,
No. I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Chef.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Florida, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
I'll never forget
that moment.
As
long as I live.
my first call ever as a member of the National Guard.
When we got to the armory, they briefed us on the wildfires. They were getting dangerously close to homes.
Helicopters were going out to drop water on the fires. Guards in the unit were preparing for firefighting with local fire crews. At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is to my community.
See how the Guard can be an important part of your life at nationalguard.com.
Florida National Guard, aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
There's a chance that Florida State continue to fight the good fight and continue and proceed with their lawsuit. You're already knee deep. You've already spent millions of dollars. You might as well just keep on keeping on.
You could win.
You could. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like it right about now, but I suppose.
Just hung up in appeals, but I mean, you did get venue. You are in the state of Florida. The state of Florida. Yep, there you go. There was subtext there. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah, I did.
The state of Florida will do what is necessary within the constructs and confines of the law because they're upstanding.
So the way the rest of that reads, FSU and Clemson's lawsuits against their own league, originally thought to be an effort to leave or at the very least spark change to both the ACC revenue distribution and the length of the league's grant of rights, which coincides with ESPN's television contract. Frustrated over the conference's long-term TV deal, Clemson and FSU officials have for months been negotiating with the league administrators over concessions to remain in the conference. Now, that already is suspect.
That might give you a clue as to why language got a little bit softened, right?
Mm-hmm. The ACC's ESPN contract pays a fraction of the SEC and Big Ten's media money. That's right. Put that in all caps. And extends longer than any active major conference deal. A sore subject with the ACC's biggest brands, but a contract that each school president ratified years ago. The potential willingness from the schools to remain in the conference is, for some, a shocking revelation and an about-face from the previous actions. You don't say. Now, I've met Mr. Dellinger. I've had him on my show before, had him on my SiriusXM show. I'm sure from time to time he checks in with the parties, media reps, if you will. How's things going down in Tallahassee? How are things going in Clemson, South Carolina? He perhaps, no doubt, maybe heard our sore subject debate and discussion. The potential willingness from the schools to remain in the conference is, for some, a shocking revelation and an about-face from their previous actions. Mm-hmm. It is indeed.
It sounds like there was some personal satisfaction in composing that sentence. Perhaps that's just me.
It's also apt.
Yeah.
He got to do it because it's also fair. It is stunning. You would agree with that.
If they accept a settlement and they go through the spiel of here's what we got, and they start spinning it before they tell you what we got, that would be the stunning part. And that would be when you call this an absolute failure by everybody at the top. Unequivocal failure. But we're not living there just yet. It'll be interesting to hear what they say when they decide to say something.
So those at Clemson and FSU have felt that if they are legally unhinged from the ACC's grant of rights, there will be takers. It's viewed as unlikely that any SEC or Big Ten school will agree to accept a reduction in their TV distribution to add any school for the SEC. That is especially so given its footprint. The league already owns a foothold in both South Carolina and Florida. In order for the Big Ten and SEC to expand, they'd likely need more money from their television partners. A lot more money, more than $100 million a year. That's primarily Fox for the Big Ten and ESPN for the SEC.
So it's a load of crap there with the Big Ten. Big Ten makes money by adding these teams. They don't need it. They don't need an influx of 100. They'll get it by expanding the footprint. That's the omission in those two sentences.
Yes.
Is that by definition, the Big Ten does get the value of the Southeast.
Yeah, I believe that there would be a landing spot in the Big Ten if we were, in fact, untethered to the ACC. But
how could it be argued, though, that the SEC, there's no value because you're not adding to the footprint. And the Big Ten, just like the SEC, it needs to work both ways. If there is no value to the SEC, then there is, by definition, great value to the Big Ten of adding Florida.
Well, listen, at that point, you are coast to coast, you are Midwest, you are South, and you are West Coast.
You can get Chick-fil-A buys now in the Big Ten. You got a new sponsor, big one.
Yeah. You recall that Florida State introduced a preferred new revenue structural proposal during negotiations with the ACC that would create a separate pot of cash to be divided based on media value metrics and other football performance marks. So here's the thing I want to say about that. Fine, that you do that. You go to the table, you go, look, man, let's not kid ourselves. It's us, it's Clemson, sometimes Miami. They've never even won the league, but yeah, they're a huge brand. Got it. All right, so these are the three. Come on, we're right? Well, yes, what's your point? Well, maybe we should get a little bit more money than, say, Wake or Boston College that does nothing for this conference. Anyhow, and they go, well, it has to be incentivized. Maybe I would agree to it, but you don't get it just for being you. I think we should get it just for being us. Well, we're not going to do that. Okay, well, what's your thought? Well, I mean, if you're good, maybe we'll put a pot of gold over there for you if you're good. You can't be out here going, I don't know, 2-10. Fair enough. Okay. That seems like a concession. All right, so we've got that pot over there, right? Yep, yeah, okay, but you got to be good.
I call it a success initiative.
And then from there, they're looking to add another initiative to find more money for us, Clemson, Miami, anybody else that is less than enamored with the current arrangement and has value. If you're less than enamored, Boston College, shut up. But those of you three, go ahead and tell us how you feel. Now, okay, what's the next one? And what does it all add up to? Because it seems to me, based on this track record of what I've watched play out since the saber rattling began, it seems to me that we're going to be on the wrong end of this. It's not going to be close. We're not going to get to within $5 to $9 million of the SEC schools or the Big Ten schools. I'm going to bet that it's not in that ballpark, Tom. And if it is, it's going to be a near impossibility to reach. You've got to basically be an ass kicker 12-0 every year.
You got to shoot the moon. Got to run the table, cross the board, be great at everything, go the distance in most things.
Yeah. But by the way, that should be the stated goal anyhow. And, I get it. Some years you're not going to reach it, and those will be devastating years financially for you.
But that's what they're going to hide behind. Well, I mean, it should be, based on success and merit. Yeah, okay. Rutgers, by existing, gets the money that they do.
Well, they got lucky.
Yeah.
That at that time.
Well, you got lucky that we're still here. You got lucky that we exist at all. Because if BC sued the league, how many resources would the league deploy to defend itself from Boston College wanting to get out of the league? How many resources? What kind of lawyers would they hire?
Not $1.
They'd hire a contract lawyer to say, all right, here's what it looks like for you to get your unconditional release from the league. Proofread that, Mr. Lawyer. Does it look good?
Have
Great.
a good one.
Here's your $40.
Yeah. As reported by Yahoo Sports in September, Clemson FSU introducing those revenue structural proposal during negotiations with the ACC creates a separate pot of cash. Proposal is introduced to the ACC university presidents and is one of a possible two-part solution settlement. The schools are proposing changes to the conference's grant of rights agreement at the center of both lawsuits, such as possibly reducing the penalty fees tethered to the contract or an amendment in its length. And there was the bright spot that I was referring to. It took me a minute to get there, but that's it. That's the only thing that you can kind of, well, not nothing.
Well, if they wanted to give us a launch point of the 2030.
If they said 2031, we'll agree to, so we're going to amend the length to 2031. Okay, well, as you get closer to 2031 is what you're going to say, Tom, then that number.
Right. Well, and the ACC
palatable.
announces that we're going to add Tulane and all these other teams in 2031, so they do the old switcheroo. That would be the hope.
Hour number 2 forthcoming. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
This announcement is brought to you by Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey.
If you're driving right now, you should know there's an 80% chance that the cars all around you don't carry any bodily injury insurance. Most people don't realize it, but in Florida, all the law requires is that drivers carry property damage insurance. This means that the texting teen drifting over into your lane or the drag racer on your rear bumper have no way of compensating you or your loved ones when they cause a crash. And this should scare the hell out of you. Fortunately, there's an easy way to protect your family from this, and it's called uninsured motorist coverage. It's an absolute must, but a lot of insurance companies are convincing folks to drop it just to save a few dollars. Take it from the personal injury experts. Don't. At Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey, we've recovered millions of dollars in uninsured motorist coverage in crashes where our clients would have otherwise received nothing. So please, call your agent right now and make sure you have uninsured motorist coverage on your policy. We hope you'll never need it, but we'll be here for you if you ever do. Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey. Don't settle for less.
Well, it's so great being back in the Oval Office looking out over the White House lawn. Speaking of lawns, I got to tell you about the Lawn Johns. They're the best. Anything for basic lawn care like mowing, edging, weed eating, and they can do even a full landscape design. Believe me, it's incredible. In fact, Elon and I have big plans, and we're going to grow grass on the moon, and guess who's going to be doing the lawn up there? Yeah, you got it. The Lawn Johns. Call them right now, or for a free estimate, you can visit them online at thelawnjohns.com.
Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee. Your Sports Flash update on Real Talk 93.3 brought to you by Fulmar's Pawn, Gun and Gold. More than you might expect with 2 great locations in Tallahassee.
Busy night of college basketball. Tough night for Florida State. Virginia Tech never trailed as they knock off the Seminoles 76-66. Taylor Bolbowen had 14 points on 6 of 8 shooting and finished a rebound short of a double-double. Florida State back at it when they face off against Boston College on Saturday. Miami basketball, they dropped to 0-10 in league play as they lose to Virginia yesterday by an 82-71 score. Florida Atlantic basketball, they go to 4-4 in the American Athletic Conference. They win at home over Texas San Antonio last night, 94-74. This Sports Flash is brought to you by Fulmar's Pawn, Gun, and Gold. More than you might expect with 2 great locations in Tallahassee. I'm Matt Pauley on Real Talk 93.3.
Members, it's here. Milo's Rewards Week deals for members only are up for grabs. You name it, we've got it for less. Get up to 40% off store-wide on hundreds of items, including select bag, tools, paint, and more. So what are you waiting for? Join for free today and get instant access to Milo's Rewards Week deals. Lowe's knows home improvement. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. Every day, ZipRecruiter helps people who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com.
Hey, Greg, did you know that some cars are more prone to auto glass damage than others?
I did not know that.
Yeah, a Jeep windshield is flat, making it very prone to damage. Nissan Rogues are popular. Toyotas, Subarus are always in my shop because they get damaged frequently and they require recalibration.
So you guys see a lot of SUVs.
Yeah, I guess the angle of the glass has a lot to do with it.
But it's not like you can avoid a rock no matter what you're driving.
Exactly. So just go to SeminoleAutoglass.com and let us take care of everything for you.
So how often do you see a DeLorean?
From time to time. Better call Seminole.
When I get home, I'm ready to relax. So I call Swain Pools and Spas. I'm cool in the back. I call Swain Pools and Spas. Now I'm soaking up and fun when I want to.
Truckloads of new and used Caldera and Hot Spring Spas are available now at Swain Pools and Spas. Don't wait. Get to Swain Pools and browse the best inventory to find the spa of your dreams. These won't last long, so come see us today. Just look for the huge sign on Tharp Street or call 386-7113 for Swain Pools and Spas.
I know what you're thinking right now. Where can I find a place to get my car fixed and also check out some awesome new hot tubs and spas while I wait? Well, you're in luck. Because when you bring your car or truck in to get serviced at Tallahassee Car Care, it's under the same roof as Swain Pools and Spas for tires, brakes, batteries, tune-ups, oil changes, and all the service you need to get back on the road. Choose the certified technicians at Tallahassee Car Care. Drop by our shop on Tharp Street or visit online at TallahasseeCarCare.com.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And we spent all of hour one documenting the ways in which we're screwed. I'll do less of that this hour. I feel like it was a thorough documenting of the position Florida State finds themselves in.
I would agree. They're potentially screwed in the short term, but it could be.
Yeah. I think that's where it's headed. That's the reason for the dread.
The thing is, though, the potential screwing would apply to other sports first, right? I mean, isn't that the other
It's
thing?
sad.
Here?
It's sad what's going to happen to those other sports for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're looking at everything from travel budgets to coaching salaries to recruiting and scholarships. All those things would get cut. Personnel. They talked about that today in the Florida Board of Governors meeting. That they did look at personnel cuts and that they're implied that there have been or will be some in the athletic department.
That's a toughie.
Well, this is the deal when 20.5 or some percentage of TV revenue is going to get redirected. You could argue it was already bloated for a long, long time.
You certainly could.
That football was paying for a lot of things that, had nothing to do with football. So the other sports would be the things that you would feel the pinch on first, and maybe not as much on football itself, but that can't last forever.
No, and also, Tom, it doesn't mean that you're able to deflect all of the other problems inherent to staying in this league and not have that affect football. There's still going to be direct consequences to football, even if they funnel more money from the other programs towards football, because it has to be good for an athletic department to survive, in particular this one, and to compete with those that are making so much more than you. You're still not going to be able to tell a recruit that you're not in the ACC.
Yeah, that you can't change.
You can't
100%.
Can't change that.
Yeah, and also the viability of the job. You could still get really good candidates here if you pour in all the resources. But still, if a coach has an offer from a mid-level SEC team or an ACC team,
Well, you see it all the time. I mean, this would just be when you're in an also-ran league, it's the equivalent, maybe at a higher level, Tom, but it's the equivalent of what Siggs did when he left James Madison for Indiana.
Yeah.
Indiana is a whatever job.
Right.
But it's in the Big Ten. And he was like, well, sorry, I'm out.
Well, okay, apply it to the basketball program. There are many who think, why don't we just go get Gates and CY and run it back? Well, because Mizzou has more resources.
It's a better job.
It's
a better job to be Missouri's basketball coach than it is to be Florida State's basketball coach. They're going to say no.
And that won't be what football turns into overnight, but slowly that will happen if you can't get out of here.
Yes, it will. Yeah. You'll be viewed on the same plane that SMU is viewed. Look at SMU this past year. That was a nice story. First year in the league, they make the ACC championship game. They were fighting like hell, to be that team that got into the playoff, despite the season they had. And even once they got there, they were viewed as an extreme, unlikely candidate to do much in said playoffs because they're in a lesser league and they're not a program of stature. That's where you'll begin to descend.
I don't think you'll get all the way down to that level.
No, because you're FSU with 3 national titles and 40 years of success. But, man.
And we do schedule tough enough outside of the conference. We'll see if that is allowed to continue in the new world.
Well, you're going to be playing Notre Dame, so you got plenty of that.
As if we don't already have the hardest two.
You got Clemson and Miami every year.
Rival lock-ins to your ACC schedule. But you could drop from where you are now. And again, this is the long view, not the 2024 view. I get what we did last year. You split the difference between where you are now and Boise. You'll be a tier above Boise, but you're not quite Alabama. That could be.
It is a really good thing that we won the national title in 2013.
Yeah.
It's sustaining us. It was a huge shot in the arm to sustain a program's reputation. It begins to wear off, especially if you have losing records. But I would argue that national title and the subsequent undefeated season before losing in the first ever playoff was, massive for Florida State's brand recognition and the iconic status that is so often referenced. Had you not done that, you'd be looking at 1999, and you'd be looking at a whole lot of nothing for 25 years.
Well, and 2023 is a net good, but it should have been an overwhelming good instead of a on the margins. It's good.
Yeah.
Jared Verse helps.
Oh, well,
his continued excellence helps.
Not just that, all those guys. I mean, a lot of guys had good years.
They did. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
that
he's a
you
star.
Have
He's a star.
Yes, a transcendent player, perhaps. And if he turns into that in retrospect helps your cause.
For those of you that have not done this, Brian Baldinger is an excellent football analyst and former player. Most of you know the name, and if you're old like me, you remember him playing, but you also know what he is in the football world, the football media world. He is frequently guests on the NFL Network and other things, and he's got his own accounts across social media platforms. He does a great job of breaking down the all-22s for the biggest games and the best players, and he must pour hours upon hours upon hours of watching game film because his knowledge and breakdown of said film is the most thorough and insightful of any that I believe to be on the internet. The point would be he did one on Jared Verse. And if you type in Brian Balding or Jared Verse, you'll see that breakdown of the all-22s. He did more than one this year, several. And it is fun to listen to him talk because he is recognizing a superstar in the making. And he's pointing out the many reasons why, and including, stuff that maybe got unnoticed during the course of the year on plays in which he didn't make the play, where he goes, I want you to watch this. He does that all the time. I want you to watch this here for a second. Now the play's going to go over here, but you just watch this right here. And he'll show you the stuff that Jared Verse does to affect offenses and offensive coordinators, what they will and will not call and why, even on plays that don't involve him, that go the other way. You're like, yeah, see, this is why you can't call that to this side because here's what's going to happen. And it's great to watch. So just a heads up, if you haven't seen that, go look at it. Did you bet on Colin Morikawa like I told you yesterday?
Oh, man, I should have.
He's 4 under through 9 and leads the way at Pebble. Tom can attest while we were playing golf. I said it's good Colin Morikawa week.
I think we were on number 7, and he said who you should bet on, and then you continue to proceed to hit the shot. Yeah. Yeah. This is the one major, non-major tournament that I just cannot muster the energy to watch because of the stupid fanfare.
I hate the fanfare, but once that ends, when you get into the nuts and bolts of it all, and they just start showing the players, you still can't do it.
There's H.D. Wilson III, CEO of Boeing, for par.
You're like, well, this guy's an a-hole.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Okay. He's going to miss it. So, And now, look at this. The hijinks from Chris Berman on the 15th.
No, stop.
One of the mainstays here at Pebble over the years.
Can't play a lick either. I don't know why he keeps coming back. I've never seen him hit a good shot. Every time they show Berman's fat ass, it's some shank into the water. Into the ocean. Like, why are you still playing, Chris? This game's got to be infinitely frustrating for you.
Look at that. He's got a fan in a headlock. He's giving him boy, that Berman, he really lights up the crowd. Yep. Mm-hmm. And Clint Eastwood after this. Like, oh, my God.
Clint is not coming on, I don't think.
Why can't this be at PGA West?
I don't think.
Why do you have to besmirch Pebble with this nonsense?
I sat at Pebble and had a glass of scotch with my dad right where one of the interviews that they've done with Clint Eastwood, like each of the last 20 years, is situated. And I remember laughing walking up when I saw the backdrop. I was like, oh, this is where they always got old ass Clint. Yeah. I even imitated him. Like, made fun of him. Not he wasn't there. I wasn't making fun of him. I did that interview. I made fun of that interview. Justin Thomas, top 10 right now too, buddy.
Oh, all right. You had him as well.
I did. Now it's early. It's Thursday. Let's not get carried away. It happens. I mean, after all, last week, our boy Ludwig led the way after round 1 with a 63 and then promptly shot above mid-70s the rest of the way. It was a tough day at the office on the remaining 3 rounds. I said that I didn't want to go back down the existential dread road. So to start this hour, I'll do something thanks to a listener who tweeted this at me. I happened to check it today. and saw this and went, well, son of a gun. It's happened again. A newly discovered, you guys know this is my cup of tea. And I get tired of how this happens. I dream of it someday. I'm getting old enough where maybe it will. Maybe it will. Because first of all, you'd have to go to these things. You'd have to attend these things in order for it to happen to you. A newly discovered Vincent van Gogh painting worth $15 million was found at a dusty Minnesota garage sale.
Where?
A dusty Minnesota garage sale.
What state?
Minnesota.
There we go.
When a buyer plunked down less than $50 for the world-famous artist's work, according to a team of New York-based experts, the previously unknown oil portrait depicts a fisherman smoking a pipe and was painted in 1889, the same year Van Gogh painted his masterpiece, Starry Night. At a psychiatric ward in southern France, the Impressionist painting was snapped up at the garage sale by an anonymous antique collector for less than 50 bones several years ago. Person suspected that there might have been something to it, had some knowledge of art, that helps, and wanted experts to look into it. 20 different experts did, comparing and contrasting Van Gogh's brushstrokes as well as the age of the paint and the surface it's on and everything else. And they came back and said, yeah, man, that is most certainly a Van Gogh. Imagine that moment. Okay. All right, cool. That's awesome. It's a Van Gogh. And what's it worth? Well, given its condition, we think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of $15 million. Holy Jesus! I spent $41 on that bitch. Woo! So, this Slappy gets 15 million bones.
The Slappy said, is that good? That is a Van Gogh? That's because that's the only type of person that
no,
wins in this situation.
Golly.
Van Gogh? I don't know.
Man alive.
Like the Go-Go's?
Every year. There's one every year, and I appreciate that my audience sends this to me. This is not my new favorite. It's good, but it's not my new favorite. It's this. It's a mint condition Honus Wagner that Uncle Frankie had in his New Jersey farmhouse. Frankie died of a heart attack over a plate of spaghetti. They had to pull out the stuff in the house. They go out to the barn. Oh, what's this? Oh, his old baseball collection. Frankie loved baseball. He sure did. He got anything good in there?
Frankie also loved his spaghetti.
He did.
It's kind of fitting if you think about it.
You open it up. Wow, look at that. A rookie Pete Rose. What else we got in there? Is this no, that's got to be a replica. There's no way. Looks like a mint condition Honus Wagner to me. It's not. There's only 7 of those in the world. Well, nonetheless, Bob, I think we should swing past it and get it to an expert as soon as possible. Gentlemen, we have the other 6. I can't believe it. The 7th has been found. Uncle Frankie had it all along. Yeah, and we've been broke, and I didn't go to college.
Ever since the refi, he was screwed. He didn't know.
Sitting on a gold mine. Unbelievable. Thanks, Frank. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Searching for the best place to host an event for your friends and family? The Golf Club at Summerbrook is more than just a place for a round of golf. It's also one of the best choices for hosting and celebrating the most special days in your life. From rehearsal dinners and baby showers to corporate banquets and kids' birthday parties, you'll receive amazing personal service and attention to every detail when you choose the Golf Club at Summerbrook. Find out how affordable it can be and call us today at 850-894-GOLF. That's 850-894-GOLF.
There's nothing relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tub spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our huge showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
Hi, this is Rudy Ferguson, pastor of Newburgh Tabernacle of Praise. Be encouraged, stand still, and watch God move with your morning word with Pastor Ferg. It's something God wants to share with you. Tune in every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. with the morning word with Pastor Ferg. I believe it's going to bless you and keep you for the week to come. Right here on Real Talk 93.3.
Hey everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing NMLS 373031.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Another non-dread story. Here you go. You'll like this one. Before I get to it, I want to point something out. I don't know why, yesterday, Adam Silver, who's a good commissioner, who's done a good job with the NBA, and that deal that NBA just signed is unreal, billions and billions and billions of dollars. But he went on Dan Patrick, I guess, yesterday and said that he was entertaining the idea of 10-minute quarters, which instantly made him sound like the dumbest man in the world. And immediately coaches and players certainly pushed back and went, yeah, screw the record books, right, Adam? What are you doing? Shut up. That's crazy person talk. And it was. But when you listen to players in different sports and anything not football related, okay, any other sport that isn't football, so that's all the rest of them. Commissioners, high-profile individuals, say like Tiger or Rory, right, in golf, and baseball players, somebody like Mike Trout. I know Shohei's the biggest star in the world, but we don't get to hear from him very often. The language barrier. They all are chasing after the NFL's unrealistic and seemingly growing audience numbers. That's what they're all chasing. We had somebody ask a question in the chat right after that Bills-Chiefs game. At that time, the final numbers hadn't come in. Now, I'm going to connect all of this here in a second, but those numbers are now in, and as they expected, it's a record. CBS averaged an audience of 57.7 million people for the AFC title game between the Bills and the Chiefs. Now, that viewership represented the most watched AFC championship game since, actually, the late 80s advent of the Nielsen People Meter measurement system, basically.
I just like the name of that.
The Nielsen's People Meter?
Yeah.
How does it rate on the Nielsen's People Meter?
It's for some reason, it's comforting. I don't know why.
What was that Nielsen's People Meter? People Meter number, guys.
I think it's because it sounds close to People Mover, which is one of the most relaxing rides in amusement park history.
The figure surpassed last year's NFC title game, which also played in the later 6:30 Eastern time zone broadcast slot, drawing 56.7 million. So this bested that by 1.7%. It ranks number 2 all time in viewership for the NFL in non-Super Bowl games in the last 37 years. You know the game it trailed in a non-Super Bowl game?
No, I don't.
2009 Saints-Vikings.
Oh, Bounty Gate.
Won by New Orleans in overtime.
That was Bounty Gate. How do you throw an interception, Brett Favre?
Yeah, drew 57.9 million.
Adrian Peterson had a killer fumble in that game. Oh, yeah.
Favre played like a warrior in that game, though. He took an ass beating.
He did. He made the ultimate mistake. He was what he was.
A gunslinger.
Which is everything.
Good, bad, terrible.
Yeah.
Yes, he was all those things. Yeah.
The Jameis Winston experience before the Jameis Winston experience.
Yes. Now, the NFC Championship game did not do that. Not even close. The NFC Championship game was the redheaded stepchild of the games by a lot. And that has a lot to do with the fact that it turned into a blowout. But also, it's just not as sexy. It will be soon, though, because Jaden Daniels is going to be a superstar in the league real soon. And comparatively to the draw at that same time slot a year ago, it was way, way down. But here's the problem. The game that was played in that time slot a year ago was the Kansas City game. So you're not going to catch up to them. That's the worst conference title rating since 2018. Anyhow, I say that just to say this. I don't want to get bogged down in ratings talk.
What was the number, out of curiosity?
41 million.
It still did 41?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. But it's playoff football, buddy. People are watching some playoff football.
I figured redheaded stepchild was
20?
32,
Yeah,
35,
no.
41.
Mm-mm. So we'll see what ends up happening. Yeah, I'm kind of curious about the Super Bowl. We'll see. It always rates well. It's the Super Bowl. It's an event more than it is a game a lot of times. But that number is not surprising. All right, so for the very reason these numbers that we give you, all of these other sports would love a piece of that, would love to chip away at that, would love to have, obviously, more eyes on sets for their sports. And I've noticed a pattern. It's led high-profile people in those other sports, no matter the sport, tennis, hockey, baseball, the NBA, doesn't matter. It leads otherwise rational people who you respect or have proven themselves to do a good job to say stupid things and to create ideas that make no sense, like bastardizing a game that's been around forever, right? Now, baseball got it the most right by, in essence, enforcing the books that were already on the rules that they were never enforcing. That's kind of like they figured out, hey, remember when we made those rules? You have to pitch within a certain period of time. We got to start enforcing them.
Night and day.
Well, we've been saying this for a long time, guys. And you once mandated that people do so, but the umps didn't enforce it. You better find out another way. Well, we'll put a clock out there. That'll be the end of that. You're going to pitch by this time, or that's it. And you're going to get your ass in the box to receive said pitch, or strike one. That's what we're doing. Good idea. Took way too long for you to figure it out. Should have enforced that all along, but now that they did, it worked. And that's not a crazy idea. That was an existing rule. But just this last month, you had them talking about the golden at bat and all these other things where you're allowed to insert your offensive player of choice, presumably your best hitter, into a ninth inning situation, whether he's up or not. That's crazy. That is ridiculous. That's not even the sport. What are you talking about? No, you don't get to do that. That's dumb.
Lee Westwood has a 6-footer to win the Masters.
Tiger, I'm going to need you to make this putt for me to win the Masters.
He has summoned Tiger.
Good call. He was never going to make that putt. No, he wasn't.
You know, Jim, he's been saving this all week. He had the one, and he knew down the stretch he could possibly need Tiger's help.
Tiger, it's one of the rare events he misses the cut, but he has to stick around because somebody wants him to putt. Yeah, so that's
effing Westy.
Yeah, this is an easy one too. There.
It's not even
Congratulations.
It's not even outside the hole.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
You bum. Anyhow, so yeah, that's they had all these crazy things, and I bring this up again because of this. I read the story today, and I said, "Come on, man, what are we talking about?" Rory McIlroy was talking about the possibility of changing some things up in golf. Outside of the 4 major championships, the PGA Tour's final round Sunday broadcast averaged 2.2 million viewers last year. That's down from 2023, but it was never a robust number, and golf never has been. Tiger is the exception, not the rule. Jack was the exception, not the rule. Arnie was the exception, not the rule. Those individuals that carried and transcended a sport and obviously raised the waters, and everybody got rich because of them, and it's why all the players love those guys. They had charisma to go along with incredible talent, but it's not a normal thing. It's not normal to have players that end up being the first or second or third best in their sport of all time to just be omnipresent so that you can have television ratings. That's not the way it works, but they never are willing to accept that. The PGA Tour recently launched what it calls a creator council with top content creator individuals and groups with a stated goal of developing shared strategies for content development and fan engagement. I get it. The internet exists. You have to cater to it to some extent. 24-hour news cycle, all that stuff. That's why you hear so much nonsense all the time. The tour has also expanded last year's Creator Classic. I've never heard of this, but it existed and I didn't know of it, which featured 16 YouTubers, which shoot me in the face right there, in a 9-hole match. Who cares? They're YouTubers ahead of the Tour Championship into a 3-event creator series. Nobody's going to watch that. What the hell are you doing? Who cares? Anyhow, fine. I'll stop being a curmudgeon for a moment. The bottom of the article goes on to say that the concerns within pro golf is that it's a crowded landscape between the PGA Tour, the newly launched TGL, and the Live Tour. No, it's not. No, it's not. Speaking of ratings, Live gets none. None. Nobody's watching. They don't even know where to watch Live. It's not. Nobody watches Live. They had a thing last year where they finished their showcase event, and at one point it peaked at like 9,000 people watching in the world. That's more people saw my left pinky finger in a given day. I mean, what the hell?
Well, I mean, it was Miami week.
And the TGL, I mean, we've both tuned in because we're fans of golf, and it couldn't be a more niche show, but it's not doing well. It peaked at like 900,000 people in the whole country. That's 900,000 people? Come on, man. Half of those were accidents. Oh, what's this? I don't know. Flip it. That's what that was. That's the indoor league, which was co-founded by McElroy and Woods, if you didn't know.
It was good on Monday. I got to see it late because we were doing schedule work.
So it is not a crowded landscape. That's not true. When you're averaging 2.2 million viewers for your Sunday rounds in golf, you cannot say that you're competing with the 900 people watching live and the 900,000 that tune in every once in a while to the indoor league. I mean, come on.
They also need to make sure that it's a Saturday finish through the NFL playoffs at all times. Like Pebble, Pebble goes against the Pro Bowl, but the Pro Bowl gets massive ratings.
But it won't anymore.
Every year.
It's not even a Pro Bowl anymore. People, did you see?
It still gets 5 figures. I'll look at last year's Pro Bowl games. Hang on.
Nobody's watching this year's Pro Bowl. I'm going to tell you it's going to be the all-time. Did you see Russell Wilson had to be invited to the Pro Bowl? That many quarterbacks pulled out. Russell Wilson.
It did $6 million last year. That's triple the final round. I mean, my God.
It's football, right? It's football. I bet you it does less than $6 million this year. Ain't nobody going. And they don't play a real game. It's flag football. Literally, so few people care about the Pro Bowl, they stop playing it. They don't play the Pro Bowl. They play flag football. And there's a skills contest. And most people, rightly, listen to their agent who say, no, we got our bonus because you were voted to the Pro Bowl. You don't actually have to play it. And also, if you play it and get hurt, well, what a silly way to end a career. Yeah.
The Open Championship. Oh, sorry. Excuse me. The PGA Championship last year did 5 million viewers on Sunday.
That's impressive.
The flag football Pro Bowl games did more.
Because football is king.
I mean,
and this is why they're all chasing it. This is what but it leads them to say stupid things like, well, it's a crowded landscape. We're having to compete with TGL and Live. No, you're not. No, you're not.
Well, no.
We should shorten the quarters. We should play a much shorter. That's the problem. Your ratings are down because people are tuning into NBA games going, it's just too long. Well, no, it's not.
That's Rory's point here, too. Well, it's the season's too long. We should play fewer events.
He wants to do a scarcity of events. He went on to say that.
Yeah. Hey, clown, you already take plenty of events off. Stop it.
Well,
you're sounding like the rest of them.
Yeah. I don't think he's complaining about that. I think he thinks it's legitimately a good idea. I don't.
He's for smaller fields and fewer events. He is sold out. He has sold out long since.
If you're one of the 5 best players in the world, you're going to say that. If you're one of the 20 best players in the world, you're going to say that. They all say that because they want more money for themselves.
Right, but he presents himself as the everyman, whereas these other guys are a little bit more honest about their thirst for the money, like a Cantlay. They're the same guy. It's just one presents himself as.
Yeah, I think one's a lot more savvy and gregarious than the other, but
right, disingenuous is what I hear.
I don't think Rory's disingenuous. I don't. Now, I agree with you that he would want fewer events because he would like to make more money, have smaller people in it, and not play as much. I think they all want that, by the way.
Right. But what I'm saying is,
they're good enough. If they're good enough,
gets killed for the hats because they don't get paid in the Ryder Cup. It's like, well, what's the difference here? The motivation is still very much the same.
Yeah, it was crazy. And Cantlay wasn't. He ended up winning that argument because he was like, I never said that. I didn't say that. You know. And then he continued to wear that.
But if I did, you'd be right.
It's Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Taylor County Sheriff's Office announced Tuesday morning that deputies are searching for 2 escapees from the Taylor County Jail. The 2 escapees are identified as 32-year-old Joshua Aaron Worth and 23-year-old Rayshawn Lamond Lee. The Sheriff's Office said in a social media post on Facebook Tuesday morning, Worth weighs 170 pounds and stands 5'7". He has brown hair and blue eyes. Lee weighs 160 pounds and stands 6 foot tall. He has black hair and brown eyes. The Sheriff's Office issued a statement saying, do not approach these individuals if spotted. The 2 were accounted for during Monday's overnight counts. However, the 2 were discovered missing Tuesday morning when breakfast was served. Wharf had also escaped from the Taylor County Jail back in October. Anyone with information is advised to call the Taylor County Communication Center at 850-584-2429 or call 911. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. A mix of clouds and sun this afternoon with a high of 75. South winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Mainly cloudy tonight, lows level off around 54. Mainly cloudy skies with fog in spots early tomorrow. Chance of thunderstorms. Daytime highs approaching 75. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently 74.
Don't miss TFC Tuesdays every Tuesday morning at 7:30 a.m. during the Greg Tish Show. Find out what's happening at Tallahassee State College every Tuesday at 7:30 a.m. on Real Talk 93.3 FM.
There is no Bigfoot, Eddie. Would you stop with that nonsense?
There's a Bigfoot, Jeff.
I wish there were. By the way, I don't want you to point to me as the guy that takes all the fun out of the room. I wish there was the Loch Ness Monster. I wish there was the Bigfoot. I wish there was the Chupacabra. All the things.
They're all mythical except for the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch.
The Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot. There's big feet. There's lots of them.
So like different, breeds, like different kinds.
There's like, families. There's different families. And,
so there's if they're in the snow, you call them a Sasquatch.
Or the Yeti, right?
Yeah,
and then here in Florida, that's a skunk ape. And,
I've never heard that one. By the way, why do you think it's real? We would have found them by now.
They're the hide and seek champions of the world. Nobody finds the Bigfoot.
I think you believe in Bigfoot.
I do believe in Bigfoot.
You don't believe.
I believe in Bigfoot.
Don't tell anybody you believe in Bigfoot.
I would go look for Bigfoot, but he scares me.
Florida's bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Real Talk 93.3. You're listening to Real Talk 93.3.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Really quick, by the way, David, you asked a question, I believe, as far as, I think it had something to do with basketball, which is disappointing. Oh, no, it had to do with David Hale. Sorry about that, David. Jeff, David Hale on radio said that the ACC ESPN deal is not below market value. Is he high? I don't think David's high today. Might be. Don't know. No, I'm saying that tongue in cheek, obviously.
Well, he could have legal deliveries to his home.
Cornbreadhemp.com.
Yeah, that's right.
/Warchant for your 100% legal THC-laden gummies.
Dry January, still going for, another half a day and a half.
In the month that will not end.
January is always
Holy sweet Jesus. Day 64 of January is a beautiful one. I will say that. It's nice out.
It would feel like day 24 if you went to cornbreadhemp.com/warchant.
Use code WARCHANT for 30% off your first order. You might need it to get through the dilemma that Florida State's in. As we play a big game against, I said this will be 2028. What do you think? You think we got a chance in the big matchup with Bowling Green this weekend? I think it's going to be a tight one. Played before 32,000 people and shown on Wednesday on the CW at 9 p.m.
Dennis?
Oh, goodness gracious. So we'll wait and see.
Market value for the contract? Probably. Don't have very many valuable entities in the SEC.
Yeah, that's true.
It probably is market value.
Yeah, I think that's probably accurate.
It's just that we split up all that market value equally at the moment. save for a couple of bucks for success initiatives.
Which is also considerably less than the money being split up in the SEC and Big Ten.
Well, this is where the language coming out of the university, aggressive as it was a rallying point. You know, Florida State brings in 15% of the revenue in this television contract and only receives 7% of the return. Those are easy numbers,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and maybe they're obfuscated a little bit. But if you're telling me that I'm worth more than double of what I'm being paid, that's easy for people to understand and get behind, as was the whole concept of all of these meetings that were held last year.
I can't get past that. Here's a good story. And they're going to do well with it because he's killing it and he's got a career if he wants it when his playing days are done. But Jameis Winston has been tabbed by Fox Sports digital correspondent he's going to be the digital correspondent for the Super Bowl this week, for this upcoming week. And he'll be great at it. And he'll be funny. And I don't know if you saw him go on with, what's his name, Kelsey, but he was funny there too.
Yeah, and they had, who was the weird, they had Gaffigan on.
Oh, did they?
On there was a stage show on the
Mhm.
couches. And Jim Gaffigan was talking about how he was a player at Purdue for maybe a month. And then he went and played at a Division II, Division III school.
Mm-hmm.
And then he quit. And he said it was the greatest moment of his life that he quit.
That he quit.
And so Jameis, and there was another player. I think it was Ryan Clark.
It was Ryan Clark, yeah.
And they're all joking about it was a big moment for the quitters. Quitters are important too. Like, it was good content. It really was.
He'll serve as a correspondent for Fox Sports Digital in New Orleans next week, leading up to the Super Bowl. Winston, who played for the Saints from 2020 to 2023, and last year, obviously, for the Browns, will be taking the digital audience around New Orleans on video journeys showcasing his favorite dining and entertainment hotspots. He's a free agent. He became a cult-like figure amongst football fans who gravitated towards his infectious personality. His willingness to make fun of himself, too, Tom, I will say, has served him very well. You know, he was in an ad for crab legs. He made fun of himself on a lot of levels. He still talks about, he makes fun of himself for throwing interceptions. I mean, he's honest about that, too. That is a good gig for him. I think this could be a launching point for Jameis. He's good at it.
I wouldn't have guessed this to be his lane, but he is nailing it. And it's just what's interesting about him is he has several personas. The correspondent persona that he's going to take on will resemble the off the field stuff at Florida State version of Jameis, because
he was
that guy,
always charming and gregarious and interesting and yes,
and not preachy, you know. Like, that's the other thing. You can't do digital correspondence. Well, no, he wasn't like,
not here.
He was with Cleveland talking about
Right.
Deshaun Watson.
Right,
know,
right.
There wasn't any of that.
No, not here. No.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that's who he's going to be in this lane. What's funny is that he can compartmentalize and be the preachy leader type in Cleveland or in a football locker room setting, but then also he does still have it in him. I was a bit surprised to see that he still has that in him. Freshman year, Jameis, of give me the microphone and I'm gonna make you laugh.
Well, I think the thing of it is he is naturally gregarious, right? He is a funny guy. He was always liked in that way by the media, by his teammates. I mean, he was always goofy. And of course he had mad game to back it up. So that certainly helped and resonated. And he was also, and I would imagine there's still some of it in him, a fierce competitor who really wanted to win, desperately wanted to win. And so when it was time to kind of take no prisoners and get serious, he could always turn it off and on and be that guy. I think he realizes that he's goofy. I mean, he's a goofy dude. And just being yourself and being comfortable in your own skin goes a long way in resonating with people.
That's where I've seen a lot of him play quarterback, and every time he plays, if it's not on locally, I try to at least red zone it to catch what's going on. You have the ticket, of course, so you could watch.
I do.
But I feel like I might have seen enough of him in the NFL if he was willing to give pitching a try again. He was good.
Well, I remember having a conversation, two different conversations about what he was as a pitcher. both with baseball people, one a head coach, another a lifer in the sport of baseball, played professionally. And they said that the slider really played, that was a major league slider. You know, he could dot that at 90, which is insane for a slider. He could do that. The other pitches, we're not so sure that would have played at a high level, but he had a major league slider. And that would be his out pitch. That would be his that's your wipe away. That's the end of this at bat.
Well, but if you are given the opportunity to just work on that at all times,
right. And he's a
something.
big, strong dude. That's the other thing people don't realize. When you stand next to him, you realize he's a big dude. He was especially beefy when he was playing baseball. And we would always crack up laughing with that.
I think that's part of the reason that this conversation led me there is because Goofy Jameis is baseball Jameis. They are one and the same. And it fits the sport.
It does fit the sport. There's a lot of time. It lends itself to a clubhouse.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Dugout hijinks, bullpen hijinks. You see that all the time on a lazy Wednesday afternoon getaway day, and you're playing in Chicago. Oh, my God. What's our middle reliever? What is he doing with the bubble gum? This is ridiculous. Well, that's Jameis. That is Jameis to a T.
I wish, it's crazy that this happened, but he never hit a home run at FSU. And he hit with a wooden bat in batting practice down in Tampa at Legends Field where the Yankees play. I went down there for that game. That's the time he played catch with my son and said his hair looked like Bryce Harper's hair. And he was great. But he was hitting with a wooden bat in batting practice, and he crushed multiple balls out of the park there. I'm like, man, there's real power there. He's hitting with a wooden bat. We never got to see that power. He had the one off the top of the fence that Tom Block thought was going to leave the yard. Unfortunately, Tom, come on, I love you, brother. But it was a missed call. It happens. We were hoping it to be.
Hey, man, it wasn't a John Sterling. Let him be.
What happened there?
A Stantonian blast.
Oh.
Apparently there are two out.
Yeah.
Okay, that was in the
What did that not go? Oh, it was caught. Sterling was probably the worst announcer to ever be of note. Like the way he was, for some unknown reason, revered. I mean, they were doing all kinds of things for him at the end of his career at Yankee Stadium. When I went and looked, I was like, he hasn't even been there that long. Why is this like a deal? Like they're all choking up. It's like he's been there 60 years. Dude's been there like 9. He's garbage.
I think he was there 30 years.
Yeah, I don't think it was 30 years.
Oh, okay. I remember
which is the worst
when I was a kid.
in sport. It's awful.
I was in middle school when
maybe
I
it was
heard that.
20. Maybe it was 20. Go. By the way, I did want to tell you, it's not just those stories that we were talking about from Yahoo Sports and ESPN. This is now sort of, I think it's kind of considered without question that this is going to end the court battle between Florida State, Clemson, and the ACC. As this day goes along, like this is news that is happening before our eyes with updated stories. Lots of different outlets now saying, looks like there's a path. Everything sort of starts that way, which is what I was worried about and what I was thinking is going to happen. And damn it, man.
Yeah, if it's looking apparent that 2031 is the exit date, it's a failure. I don't care how close we get to the SEC in terms of dollars. That's, I think, one place we probably have a difference of opinion. Because if it got within $3 million a year, I'm sure you'd call it a success. And in some ways, it is a success.
Well, it gives you a chance to compete with the people that you have to compete with. That's inarguable.
But correct. That is inarguable. I would still call it a failure.
Well,
it was about getting out of this godforsaken place. And the money helps. And you can compete. But the recruiting stuff.
But it doesn't. Agreed with you, Tom. Agreed with you. But it doesn't make it a total wash.
Correct. It's not an F-.
Yeah. It's a C. Well, if your goal was to make sure you could compete financially with the SEC and the Big Ten, who were lapping you as you sit here today, and all of a sudden at the end of this, you don't get out, which is disappointing and certainly not ideal, but you're within $5 to $7 million of those teams annually, well, then, man, you're going to be all right. And all those other programs aren't going to get cut in the manner that we're worried about.
If that's your stated goal is to financially compete,
Well,
which
that's what
to
they're
be
gonna,
fair,
they're going to spin it that way.
to
for
be
sure.
fair, that was their stated goal. Even that first scripted board meeting that seemed like it was not scripted, it was scripted. They were saying about financial competition. It's impossible to compete. So by their own standards, it would be a success.
That is correct.
This is where I would inject some personal touch, and I'd say, no, I don't want to be here.
Well, no, none of us do. But I also don't want to continue.
Don't give me that raise. I don't want to be here. Stop giving me raises. I want to go somewhere else.
Yeah, no, listen, Cal and Stanford agreed to take reduced payments, which amount to $30 million each year for other schools. SMU receives no money. It'd be great if they came out today and say, well, in order to keep Clemson, Florida State, and Miami here, Miami less or so, whatever, but we ended up having to ask a couple of these other schools to take a haircut. And they said yes, because they know damn well they're not getting a better deal. If they're out on their own, where the hell's BC going? The AAC?
That would be, there's your negotiation if you're Phillips. You can come and play next year at 40%, or you can go. I have the votes. And there it is. I have the votes.
That's the most aggressive thing Jim Phillips ever said in his life. I have the votes. That would be hilarious.
Go ahead. Call Syracuse. I offered them first.
Them. Here's the phone.
They're at 60%. I have the votes.
Called them first. Hour number 3, bonus hour, forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Happy hour in the city is at Café de Martín and El Bar. All day, every day, you can find great deals at Café de Martín while enjoying the best outdoor seating Tallahassee has to offer. Sip away on 2-for-1 house wines, chilcanos, and margaritas all day long, Monday through Thursday. Plus 2-for-1 pisco sours and margaritas on Fridays and Saturdays, and 2-for-1 mimosas for Sunday brunch. Come join us at Café de Martín, where every hour is happy hour, in the Esposito Shopping Center on Capitol Circle Northeast.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
Listen to what people are saying about ACL Home Inspections.
They took the time to explain every detail, providing clear insights and answering all of my questions.
I needed an inspection quickly. ACL scheduled me within 24 hours, and the inspector was able to arrive early. That was a huge bonus. And my 2 dogs absolutely adore him.
ACL Home Inspections will accompany you on a walkthrough inspection of the home you want to buy, then provide you with an easy-to-read digital report the same day. For homeowners planning to list their house on the market before putting it up for sale, ACL will provide you a pre-listing inspection.
As a very analytical person, I want to see all the details and ask questions. I interviewed 3 home inspection companies and was very impressed by ACL.
See for yourself what people are saying. Search ACL Home Inspections and find out more at aclhomeinspections.com or call 850-312-8919, 850-312-8919.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
WBFT Greater Tallahassee. This is Real Talk 93.3. More of the Jeff Cameron Show is coming up next. Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas. Brought to you by Palmar Spawn, Gun and Gold. More than you might expect with two great locations in Tallahassee.
Pair of teams in the hunt for a playoff spot. The Tampa Bay Lightning, second of the Eastern Conference wild card race, looking to win a two-game slide. They're $1.55 favorite against the LA Kings at Amalie Arena today. Kings currently third of the Pacific Division. They have dropped 7 of 10, including a 3-0 shutout loss at Florida last night. Panthers with $1.55 home favorite. Orlando Magic has dropped 8 of 10. They're 6th in the Eastern Conference, laying 4.5 of the Portland Trailblazers. The total 210 at Moda Center. Chiefs a 1.5 favorite over the Eagles in Super Bowl 59. The total has dropped from 49.5 to 48.5. $250 bonus, and you open up a GBank Visa signature card. Visa.com/GBank. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
Now's the time to shop limited-time doorbuster deals during Pro Savings Days at Lowe's. Save $50 on a Little Giant King Combo 6-foot ladder. Was $199, now $149. Plus, save $100 on a DeWalt XR 20-volt Power Stack 5-amp-hour battery. Was $199, now $99. Get these can't-miss deals now before they're gone. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Doorbusters valid 1/13 through 1/15. Selection varies by location while supplies last.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. Every day, ZipRecruiter helps people who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Injured? Call Basic Brooks and come back stronger. Offices, Tallahassee.
Florida man, what's wrong this time?
Well, it's my alligator Hank again. It's so dang cold, he's been digging all these holes in my backyard trying to find some heat to keep himself warm. But he doesn't want to come out to eat, so I have to yank him by his tail. Now my back is killing me again.
Poor Hank. I'm really sorry about your back pain.
You have any idea how hard it is to pull an alligator out of his heat hole when it's colder than a polar bear's toenails outside? Not to mention the added weight of the gold chain I bought Hank last year for his birthday.
Well, it's time to get you back in to see the doctors at Fenn Chiropractic. You can book your appointment online, so there's no waiting in the cold.
You're right again. Look out, Dr. Finn, I'm coming in hot.
At Finn Chiropractic, they'll get to the root of your pain and deliver the solutions. Book your appointment online at FinnChiro.com, and you'll even get an online discount. Visit FinnChiro.com today and find your path to a pain-free tomorrow.
Choose Hearth and Patio for custom fireplaces, maintenance, outdoor grills, kitchens, fire pits, lighting, and so much more. Check out all of Hearth and Patio's options online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Hearth and Patio, they keep the home fires burning.
Well, it's so great being back in the Oval Office looking out over the White House lawn. Speaking of lawns, I got to tell you about the Lawn Johns. They're the best. Anything from basic lawn care like mowing, edging, weed eating, and they can do even a full landscape design. Believe me, it's incredible. In fact, Elon and I have big plans, and we're going to grow grass on the moon, and guess who's going to be doing the lawn up there? Yeah, you got it. The Lawn Johns. Call them right now, or for a free estimate, you can visit them online at thelawnjohns.com.
Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, Stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Need some loosey-goosey over the next 4 hours of JCS, this one and the 3 tomorrow, to deal with the disappointing news of the day with, of course, ESPN and the ACC coming to an agreement, an extension triggered, yes, or the unfortunate headline read. I think that's how you would say it. ACC in process of extending TV contract with ESPN for 9 years is the way to read that.
And now it's declared that ESPN did pick it up, so that has been since updated.
It is official. Not that you thought somehow there was going to be an alternate universe where Florida State benefited somehow, some way, once at some point in the next 6 months. Good God, man. Yes, I did in passing, much like all of you, note that Florida State's basketball team got beat at home last night by terrible Virginia Tech. So there's a program that's kind of just been put out to pasture. And we get the news today that this is happening. And that's not good. None of it good. All of it depressing. Baseball can't get here soon enough, Tommy. Soon enough. And if we have weather like this on opening day, forget about it.
Oh, I know it. 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Is that we're going to need that ice cold, tall beverage as we sit down to watch Florida State baseball in what I hope is like it is today, 71-degree weather.
Maybe there'll be a demonstration in the outfield, somebody burning an ACC flag before first pitch.
No, that had already happened, buddy. The fence is back. It's back to where it needs to be. It would be a joke if it were not. We're all good to go. The big high fence up in right field is again standing tall at Hauser. So you need not worry. Because I would have been worried. That wasn't good. That wasn't ideal. That was less than ideal. Not nobody's fault, obviously, Mother Nature. But, yeah.
What were they supposed to do to the fair foul pole? In name of the JCS, wasn't there something?
Oh, there was going to be the dong pole, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
He hit it off the dong pole. Yeah, it was going to be one dong over on your left, another dong on your right.
There it is. You do talk to Link next Wednesday in a one-on-one setting, so maybe we can ask him about it.
One-on-one Jeff Cameron Show Link Jarrett interview less than a week away. Looking forward to it. Hayden asks a question. Just because ESPN is picking up the ACC contract again, that doesn't mean we're 100% still in the ACC forthcoming years, right? Hayden, we're going to be in the ACC for forthcoming years, buddy. I'm just going to – there is a chance that they continue to pursue, Tom, the lawsuit and fight their way out of here. But let's be realists. Let's tell the people what we think this news really means, which is that they're going to settle.
Yeah,
they're going to settle.
I don't think ESPN agrees to the deal without an assurance or without language that provides for them to be out scot-free if Florida State and Clemson leave. Like they need protection. ESPN doesn't want to lock in its future with the ACC for an extra 9 years without some sort of guarantee or protection that prevents them from having to broadcast BC Wake Forest as their top 3:30 game because everybody else left. They're not going to pay that much money. So, again, ESPN holds all the cards. If they needed things to get stuffed into the extension of this deal, then so be it. They're going to be added in there. Even in the article as it's updated now, it terms them value adds, quote unquote value adds.
Well, this
more
was
marquee matchups on the schedule.
Right. This was the hope, though. This is what I was talking about with, okay, look, ideally you got out of this conference. The hope when you sued the conference, I'm sure, was that you could free yourself from this conference, find a hole in the whole grant of rights debate and get out from under it, and then be a free agent. The thought being that you were certainly going to be picked up in all likelihood, many thought, by the Big Ten. Okay. There were a lot of folks who seemed to think certainly that was kind of understood. A wink, wink, nod, nod. Nobody wants to get sued, so there was never going to be anything official. There was nothing written on paper or anything like that. It was kind of like, hey, look, we'd love to have you, but we can't get you unless you're out from under your contract. We can't even talk about this, so we're not talking about it. We're just saying, if anything were to happen, that was sort of the belief, right? That was kind of, and I think that was probably true. I think that is true. But Florida State, in their efforts legally to extricate themselves from this situation, do not appear to be winning. It does not appear that this is going to be successful at this juncture.
Unless these incentives, these brand incentives, have such a low clearance as to vest just by existing, this is, you're not in a good position. We've negotiated dozens of contracts over the years in media. You and I have done a bunch when I was with ESPN. If there are value adds, aka added value, you don't have leverage when you give away added value. That is when the other side has leverage.
Correct.
That you offer, because all that means is extra free stuff to keep the price the same. And so unless they're going to announce, which I don't see in any article.
This is what we were holding out for. This was the hope, right?
Yeah. Well, that Jim was saying, there are partners too. And they wanted to increase the base price of what ESPN is paying out. Well, when I read that the ACC had to offer up value adds of marquee matchups in football and basketball to leverage the Notre Dame relationship to that end in football, that tells me that at ESPN wasn't willing to come up on the number at all. Now, the question is, did they exchange the value adds for an increased payout? Or did they give the value adds in order for ESPN to just lock in these 9 years?
So what we did say in the midst of, obviously, this frustration over the last 2 hours, mainly in the first hour, some in the second, is that, look, you'll still be frustrated. You just said that.
Yeah, just speaking personally,
right.
Yes.
Me, considerably less so. I don't love it. There's still problems with playing in the ACC, namely in recruiting. And you're seen as a lesser than, obviously, in this league. The way you'll be treated, obviously, any of these on the margin votes for a playoff spot, if you're not close or you're tied with, even with, or even better than any of the teams in the SEC or the Big Ten, you're getting screwed.
And that's another ball of wax because you've got 14 teams and auto bid conversations coming up.
Yes.
And remember those preliminary ones, even we're talking about how SEC, Big Ten get
We're going to demand 4. They wanted 4 for sure.
And we'd stay at 1 or 2.
Correct.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so there is real problem. There are real problems with sticking around the ACC. That doesn't go away. But where we part in terms of our agreement or disagreement here is that, look, man, I've been more concerned, considerably, appreciably more concerned with the chasm of payout money for institutions in the SEC and the Big Ten because of ESPN and Fox, and institutions in the ACC. And if we were annually having to make up the deficit of $30 to $40 million more that they're getting and we're not, it spelled doom. You were no longer going to be down the road of any relevance. And in the short term, it would mean that you had to pour your resources, almost all of them, and take away from other sports that you currently are good in, by the way, and put them towards football, thus decreasing the joy we get from those non-revenue sports. Right? That would be gone too. And you would see the downward spiral. We're beginning to see it. Look at the SEC's NCAA bid number, what that's projected to be right now in basketball. we just got done citing the top 10 rankings in baseball. Now, the ACC can compete in baseball. I'll ask for how long. Those stadiums, they look like the Taj Mahal. There's triple deckers in the SEC. It's insane, right? This is the surplus of money that they have that they can pour into these other sports and come take your coaches. The second you start kicking ass, they're like, you know what? They're out kicking their coverage over there. They got no money, and they beat our ass every year. Go get that coach, and you're going to lose them. That's what's going to happen. And so this is very easily, drawn out. You can paint the picture. It's not difficult. And rather than run from that or lie to you or deflect that, we're going to have the conversation. And it sucks. It's not good for anybody. But all of us, Noles, are devastated by this potentially. So if there is some sort of deal or arrangement in which that chasm is just a small ditch, easily leapt over, and instead of $40 million, it's $7 annually that you track behind, which is not ideal, but okay, considerably different than 40. I'll live with it. We'll be okay. And in come 2031, when the landscape of college football shifts yet again because of new TV contract negotiations between the SEC and ESPN and the Big Ten and Fox, when we can once again play musical chairs, well, then we're going to have to, get a stiff upper lip and let's go.
Yeah.
And you'll have a chance to compete, and it won't be as devastating, and therefore I won't be suicidal regarding, and I say that understanding how serious an issue that is, guys. I'm just saying, look, we're just talking about sports here. The point is, Florida State would be in a hell of a fix, a hell of a bind, if they are going to continue to be that far lagged, that far behind in revenue. They really won't be able to compete on a serious level for national championships. They won't.
I agree. You're talking to me with a stiff upper lip. I'll have to grin and bear it. I would. I see. And if you could promise me that scenario, including the exit at 2030, 2031, and while you're biding your time, you're within the margins of your competitors. Okay. It is at least an acceptable outcome. It's still, but you still have effing Pitt and Wake and BC coming to town 3 times a year, or some facsimile of that being your home schedule.
Yes, it's not good. It's not a good situation.
This is now getting to civic lang for the growth of this city. For God's sake,
for
the
program that you
prices
love
of tickets to all sporting events,
all of it. Yes,
son of a. It's good that this is the biggest fish that you got to fry. Yes, okay, got it. But that's the best we could do? Is that what this was all about? Board meetings in 2024 was an exit plan for 2031 and a mitigating financial settlement between now and then? That's what this was all for?
And lessening the years that you were going to have to give up your grant of rights and all that. And a much cheaper and, I would think reasonable, it's maybe not the word, but solution for the payout.
What they're going to do if they take this settlement is present how close they can come under the best of circumstances as what is going to happen. That would be how they spin it.
That's exactly how they're going to spin it.
$5 million. Okay, so that's the best scenario. What's more likely? 15? 11?
Well, listen.
What's the most likely scenario?
Have this conversation. Okay, we already know, right? We're all adults here. It's very important to win, right?
Yeah,
it's very important to win. Correct? Everybody get that?
We're going to be put in an incentive-based position rather than the existing-based position that our peers are in.
You play to win the game. All right.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, you play to win the game. Okay, now
I know what's behind you on the television screen.
So, okay, man. The patience.
Folks, it's a roaring fire if you're listening on the podcast or in the car. There's a roaring fire behind Jeff, and that's where he's going right now.
Well, I'm not going there because everybody knows it. That's why I said it's surface level understanding. Everybody's got it, right? Well, that's a lot of pressure going into this season. Boy, I'll tell you what. It just keeps getting ratcheted up, does it not? It was always important. If whether or not they can financially hang with those they have to compete against for playoff spots in an effort to win championships, if it's now tied directly to initiatives that only really kick in if you're out there whooping some ass in football, basketball, and baseball, then we best find some people who can whoop ass in those sports, period. You just won't allow basketball to languish over here doing nothing for years on end. Like they don't even care about the program. You don't get a sense that Florida State cares at all about basketball. And I hate it for my man Leonard Hamilton, but we're in this situation. We know what it is. What an embarrassment. I mean, this is awful. They don't even look like they care about basketball because they can't afford to right now. All their eggs are in different baskets. It's in the basket of the lawsuit, the basket of the football-only facility, the basket of the renovations to the stadium. It's all of it. It's the extensions for coaches and firing old ones and bringing in new ones and paying those guys too.
So I agree with the sentiment in the chat here from Scott. He's talking about
Let me go to the chat here. Sorry.
Cost-benefit analysis. It's multiple posts, but a difference of $10 million annually between Florida State and peer institutions or less. And getting out in 2030 is the minimum acceptable scenario for staying in the ACC.
Yes.
And then his follow-up is, otherwise, we are better off fighting this in court. We were most certainly not losing, quote-unquote, the court cases. Now, I'm not a lawyer who can interpret that. I think we were in an okay position there. But I agree with him. There needs to be a cost-benefit analysis of what's more worth it here? Losing to Florida and Ole Miss and Georgia and Tennessee by $17 million a year and maybe $5 million if all things line up, or just fighting this thing all the way down to the mattresses and go to the end and see what happens? Because then you're scot-free.
If you win.
You
could fight it and lose, be even more in debt, and still be stuck here until 2036. But that was always going to be
that's the cost-benefit analysis.
Yes,
that's the risk.
That's the risk. No, and I wasn't trying to infer that we were losing the cases. I just think it's awfully interesting that they were interested in this negotiation, and I'm got 2 fingers to my eyes, 2 fingers back to you. If you're gonna inject, as they did, when was that, a month ago? All of a sudden, we never said we wanted to leave, and all the softening of the language.
Yeah, that is also in the ESPN article.
Mm-hmm.
There's a sentence that Alford has been very clear that Florida State has never wanted to leave the ACC. I'm sure that's a phone call from one of the reporters to Michael, and he can't quote on the record, but he wants it out there that Florida State is never. I mean,
we've never said no. What made you
put words in my mouth?
What made you think that? Whatever for?
What are you, some sort of sensational journalist? I never said such a thing.
Right.
But
so we get into the semantics. Yes.
Yeah. To your conclusion of, well, why?
Yeah,
Why is that sentence important to be in?
Why is that important? Exactly. What do you think that represents? Now, I don't know it. But I can read the context clues, man.
Quote, Michael Alford has maintained that the Seminoles never declared their intention to leave the ACC and only wanted to explore their options, end quote.
Okay, so to get back to Scott's point, all right, I'll deal with the sort of lessening of the saber rattling and the walking back and semantic discussion that we're having here about what you were intending when you told everybody that we can't compete, and then they filed a lawsuit against the league you're in. Well, yeah, it was just a minor disagreement.
Never. Read my lips. Never.
Right. Happened. Okay, so I'll stand down on that for now. I don't love it, but I would do that if that number is what Scott is pointing to. Anywhere close to that, okay. I'm not in love with it. You get me somewhere between 5 and 9 million.
Okay, well, okay, so not 10, not 12.
Well, I don't want to keep backing up. No,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Certainly, this is the game you like to play.
Closer to 5. Yeah, if you would do it for 5, you'll do it for 6. Would you do it for 7? Yeah.
12?
Would you do it? Yeah.
And what's the minimum? Based upon if I don't know that somebody can leak that. It would be nice. It would be in FSU's best interest to leak this and not be able to have it traced back to them, to show that the parameters by which FSU is operating now will be achieved. Minimum viewership standards. Okay, check. We're going to get those. We're playing Alabama to open the year. We play Notre Dame and Alabama next year. We're going to make our money. We're going to get eyes on sets. If they could show that to where it is a guarantee, even in a quote-unquote incentive, that we are going to be within this threshold, yeah. But they're going to word it as incentive-laden, and you're not going to know what the gap is going to be, because I don't think they're going to be as open about that now.
You're going to have to know what the incentives are and what the rewards are. You can't introduce 2 new initiatives and then not tell anybody what the hell the requirements are.
that could be under lock and key as a part of the ACC contract in the ACC league office. My point is, I don't think the board would be as willing to be transparent about the deal that they got if it's not good or if it's contingent upon successes. They're more than happy to be transparent as they're saber rattling, but now why would they do that?
It's going to be interesting. We'll see. I'm waiting before I flip out. I don't like where this is headed. Doesn't feel good. Seems like we're going to get more bad news. Could be wrong. I could absolutely be wrong, and I hope like hell that it is the latter. It's that they figured out a negotiation that is tenable and will go on. Now, obviously, we both want to leave the ACC, but short of that, get me in that number that's 5 to 7, 5 to 9. Yeah, all right.
Or we receive an email with a release from Florida State. The release is signed by somebody employed at Florida State at the bottom.
Put your name on it, baby.
And it says that we are going to fight this to the hilt. We are disappointed and saddened by the...
I don't think you're going to get that email.
And we are going to fight this legally
listen, to be clear, Florida State wouldn't need to necessarily... Well, listen, I do think they should probably speak up at some point here. I think the fan base kind of wants to hear from the university at some point. But saying that, just because ESPN exercised their option, this was an option within an existing agreement. They can exercise the option. Sure. All they did today was exercise the option. This isn't new. They just said, yeah, we'll do it. And we tend to believe, as do others, that they would never have done that. They would never have exercised the option if they thought that Florida State and Clemson were leaving. They wouldn't do it. So that's why people are leaping to the conclusion that it looks like there'll be a settlement between Clemson and Florida State in the ACC, because ESPN would not have haphazardly said, oh, yeah, we'll extend. Why? What? Without the two biggest brands? No, we're not going to do that.
The whole thing here is the university was all too happy to put itself on a microphone in front of a camera, and it wasn't just in a board meeting setting.
Right.
To talk tough about this circumstance. And that's a negotiation tactic, and we all understand that. But then there has to be on the other side an accountability.
A reward.
Well, yes, an urgency to race to the microphone again. If there is resolution here, if this is resolved.
Yeah, what are the alterations?
Then you got to hold a presser or a board meeting, and everybody's got to be just as boisterous in that setting to declare whatever it is that they feel about this settlement. It's only right. If you're going to be pounding the desk in the fourth quarter of 2024, you got to pound the desk, or 2023, excuse me. You got to pound the desk in 2025 when this thing's done.
You want to talk about cornhole?
What?
I'll do so next on the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Hey, everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying, or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing lender, NMLS 373031.
This announcement is brought to you by Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey.
If you're driving right now, you should know there's an 80% chance that the cars all around you don't carry any bodily injury insurance. Most people don't realize it, but in Florida, all the law requires is that drivers carry property damage insurance. This means that the texting teen drifting over into your lane or the drag racer on your rear bumper have no way of compensating you or your loved ones when they cause a crash. And this should scare the hell out of you. Fortunately, there's an easy way to protect your family from this, and it's called uninsured motorist coverage. It's an absolute must, but a lot of insurance companies are convincing folks to drop it just to save a few dollars. Take it from the personal injury experts. Don't. At Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey, we've recovered millions of dollars in uninsured motorist coverage in crashes where our clients would have otherwise received nothing. So please, call your agent right now and make sure you have uninsured motorist coverage on your policy. We hope you'll never need it, but we'll be here for you if you ever do. Fonville, Lewis, Messer, McConaughey. Don't settle for less.
Games for Less, Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used games, as well as new and used consoles like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Atari 2600, PS4, and PS5. You name it. Locally owned and operated since 1994, trade-ins are not only welcome, but Games for Less pays more for your trade-ins than the big chain stores. That's not all. Games for Less now buys and sells new and used vinyl records to boot. George loves the Beatles, by the way. Reserve all the new releases today at Games for Less, conveniently located in the Walmart Supercenter Plaza on Appalachian Parkway.
Honey, I'm home.
We're in here, honey.
So why are all my friends here?
Have a seat, Dave. We need to talk about your problem.
Problem? I don't have a problem.
Dave, you do have a problem. A problem with your grill. Here's some pamphlets from Hearth and Patio. They are waiting for your call to help you upgrade your grill.
If you or someone you know needs a grilling intervention, call Hearth and Patio today at 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282 or hearthpatiotallahassee.com.
Progressive presents Renters MVP's Most Valuable Possessions. Today's MVP, Joe Fallon's bedroom mini fridge. Sure, this pint-sized chiller's max capacity is 3 soda cans, but what it lacks in stature, it makes up in cooling strength. Each beverage a perfect 37 degrees every time. And the 2 feet Joe walks to get a drink, priceless. That's why his mini fridge is today's MVP. Keep your most valuable possessions protected by bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help armed men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Man, this Redemption Thursday wager I have on Justin Thomas is getting interesting, buddy. I bet on him not only for the 4 rounds, but I bet on him to lead the day. And that was just some pizza money. He's -5 through 10, one back of Jake Knapp. You get the hell out of the way, Jake Knapp.
What a perfect name for a Thursday leaderboard. Top of the leaderboard guy, Jake Knapp.
Well, it's always funny, right? Here you go. Jake Knapp, Austin Eckroat, and Cam Davis all are at -6. Batia, Hodges, Henley, Thomas all at -5. Let's go, Justin. Couple more birdies down the back 9. Come on, baby boy.
I feel like back in the day when I was growing up, I saw the name Alex Cheka more than once on the leaderboard at the Masters or a major.
Yeah.
Oh, first round in the books. Alex Cheka leads. Len Matisse, 1 shot behind here.
Matisse. Well, that's like every year when the U.S. Open happens, because there's always a weird leader at the U.S. Open after round 1. And you're like, well, how about that? Nobody thought that Chris Kirk would be leading the way through today. You're like, Chris Kirk has 0 chance of winning this tournament, everybody.
Good round for Paul Goidos. Open round 69. Has him in position here at Oakmont.
JJ Spawn 7 under on the day.
Why is he still minus money to miss the cut?
Oh, man. Been a rough go for my man Ludwig Aberg lately. Come on, Ludwig. Get it together. He's currently tied for dead ass last in this tournament. What are we doing?
Well, his putter went awry out at La Jolla.
It's messing with him between the ears. He's sitting at +3 today, and everybody's shooting a low number. Come on now. It's not a good day.
The old Tiger yips with the chipper.
It's not good. That was my favorite sound effect that you did for a long time. That was the best.
Draw the club back here for the pitcher. Oh, no.
All right. I promised you I would talk cornhole. Let's do it. So, are you any good at cornhole? Because I'm pretty good.
Can we call it bags instead?
It's called cornhole, Tom. That's the name of the game.
Called
Get your
bags
head out of the
before.
gutter. It's cornhole.
Yeah.
I want to know if you're good at cornholing.
Yeah.
And you could say, pretty good. Pretty good.
I'm fairly consistent at the game.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's a tailgate and backyard barbecue staple. Everybody knows this. So
if it's it's got the real pellets in the bags. Yeah, that's the game I'm better at. Then the smaller version.
Yeah, not the nonsense version, right?
It's got to be regulation, and I'm in.
For those that don't know, players toss square bean bags into a 2x4 wooden board and into a round hole for extra points. Many people like to play it with a beer in their other hand.
That's right.
Just
Slide
so you
it
know.
up the ramp.
That's it. And it's played in teams of 2. It could also be one-on-one, but it's normally teams of 2. And so anyhow, there's that. You guys know cornhole. But I was taken aback today when I read that members of the Cornholing League, 300 American Cornhole League players. It's known as the ACL. That's the league. It's the Cornhole League, American Cornhole League, the ACL. There are 300 professional cornholers. Well, it's starting to become lucrative. And I thought, are you kidding me? It's a little bit like when I learned that the best bowlers in the world can make some good coin being a PBAer. Okay. Last year, this guy, Jeremiah Ellis, a father of 4 from Columbus, Ohio, his day job is delivering packages for UPS, pulled in an extra $61,458 by playing cornhole well. $61,000. I thought, man, these guys, they do it for fun. They do it because they're competitive. They might make $5,000 or something like that.
They do it for the love of the game.
Said somebody and made everybody nervous in prison. Jeremiah Ellis making an extra $61,000 slinging that beanbag. Good for you, buddy. He's second in earnings, by the way, amongst all 300 American Cornhole League players. Ellis says that it's brutal trying to balance his work as a UPS driver and cornholing. He said, I feel completely exhausted most of the time. But your mind is more powerful than your body, and you've got to push forward. Okay.
Bend over.
The majority of ACL pros squeeze cornhole tournaments into their weekends and vacation time away from their full-time jobs. However, ACL Commissioner Stacy Moore, founded the league in 2015, estimates that roughly 20% of its pros are able to play cornhole full-time now. Quote, my ultimate goal is for all of our players to be on the pro tour and be able to do it full-time. Believes that could happen within the next 3 years. Cheyenne Bubenheim, the ACL's top-earning female player and 5th highest overall money winner a year ago, took home $54,650. She has a house cleaning business when she's not cornholing. It's not the prize money that pays the bills, is what she said. The biggest thing for me now is sponsorship. That's a guaranteed monthly payment. She lives in DeLand. She has a 1-year-old daughter. And she's hoping to get a Titan Cornhole bag sponsorship. That is the manufacturer of the professional cornhole bags. Many top players have multiple endorsement deals. Bag manufacturers, as plentiful as golf balls on the PGA Tour. What you playing there? Oh, I play the Titans. I really like the texture of the The new scratch bags. They're fantastic.
Titan, the #1 bag in cornhole.
Moore wants to see more players ink deals with non-endemic sponsors, is how you would say that. Jamie Graham and Matt Guy have previously had sponsorships with Bud Light. Good on you. There you go. Now I'm getting paid $60,000 to cornhole while I sip on a Bud Light. This other dude has Miller's Ale House, Bud Light, and Titan. Buddy, you have found the good life. Pulling 6 figures to go around the country cornholing?
He's working on that Costas deal.
Man, that's doing some things. Now, social media can pay dividends for top cornhole players. Inexplicably, Adrian Johnson has 294,000 followers, and all he posts are his cornhole videos. You got to be kidding me. Which one of you are following this loser? You got to be kidding me. Come here, Bob. Look at this. He made it.
Adrian, we got Kingsford. You're the charcoal slinging cornhole wonder.
Bubenheim gets to practice in Florida year-round because the weather is so nice. So a lot of your top cornholers are leaving the Midwest. They're fleeing like they did Nebraska's football program to warm weather states.
Do they play option cornhole in Nebraska?
I don't know. That'd be kind of cool. Cornhole may seem niche, you think? But it's mainstreaming with increased visibility. The ACL now has a media rights deal with ESPN that is up for extension later this year. Good God, man. Most of that came on ESPN Plus, but every once in a while, a pro cornhole match will end up on the flagship station.
More often than primetime ACC football.
Yes. You will see professional cornholing before you get a good look at FSU and Stanford at a reasonable hour.
In fact, we've just struck a deal with the ACL to have ACC logos on every 4th cornhole board on non-flagship broadcasts.
Ellis, by the way, went on to say, look, my advice is to figure out exactly what do you want to get out of this game. If you don't want to be the best and you need all this practice time, make sure you're able to do exactly what you want in your day-to-day life while juggling your cornhole responsibilities. It's not easy. That's what he wants you to know. You got to find work-life balance, Tom. You know, ain't all fun and games out here cornholing. You got to put in the time. Chef Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
A homicide investigation is underway after a person was found dead early Tuesday morning. The incident unfolded when officers were dispatched to the 1800 block of Mariadoc Road in the Hidden Forest Villas neighborhood. Officers arrived at the scene after receiving a call about a person found dead in the roadway. A preliminary investigation indicated the death was a homicide. Anyone with information call Crime Stoppers at 850-574-TIPS. A Crawfordville man died Tuesday after his vehicle flipped over and crashed into a tree in Jefferson County. The wreck occurred at about 7:20 a.m. near the State Road 59 and Fanaloo Road intersection. The 42-year-old was driving an SUV south and failed to navigate the curve, causing the vehicle to travel onto the west shoulder. The driver overcorrected, causing the vehicle to flip over and crash into a large tree along the woodline. The driver, who was not wearing a seatbelt, was ejected from the car and was pronounced deceased at the scene. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
Now, here's your Paul's Termite and Pest Control Tallahassee weather report.
Staying warm through the weekend with rain chances returning for the end of the week. Highs in the lower to mid 70s, even warmer next week potentially. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 54. Friday, partly sunny and breezy, 30% chance of rain with a high of 76. Rain chances going up late to 60%, low of 51. Clearing out Saturday, mostly sunny, high of 74. From Real Talk 93.3, this is Danielle Kelly.
For the elimination of termites, pests, and for greener lawn too, call Paul's. They'll get them all.
Did you know that the survivability of a metal roof far exceeds that of a traditional shingle roof? At Metal Roofing Sales of Tallahassee, we have new state-of-the-art roll formers that produce the highest quality Versa panel, PBR panel, and standing seam options. And we will guarantee to match or beat any local competitor's pricing. We're a family-owned business, ready to offer you the best sales and installation service in the area. And don't forget about our veterans and first responders discounts. Call Metal Roofing Sales today, 850-536-9123, or visit us online at metalroofing.net.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
I did chuckle, by the way. Our cohort, Corey Clark, texted me during the show today to tell me that he had just finished listening to hour number 1 and decided to drink bleach. Yeah. Hey, man, it's where we're at. It's where we're at. It's a toughie.
Was that a text of solidarity?
I don't know. I think it was a text of, man, that's bleak. But what are we going to do? Pretend like it's sunny? That the outlook is perfect? Ideal? No, it's certainly not. So we'll see. It's a toughie. I can wait a little bit longer to find out more before we go down this road again. Okay, we attacked the news today. We did what we were supposed to do. Libations Friday will not be like that.
Well, it's their turn to retort.
Well, allow me to retort.
Yeah, see what they say. Or if they announce a settlement. They're setting up for a Friday afternoon news dump.
They kind of are, yeah.
5:45 p.m. tomorrow. We announce a partnership and settlements are all good. No more lawsuits.
Antonio said, how long are we going to be in this conference? To 2036 or a little less with this stupid agreement? It would be a little less. It'd be 2031, right? If we settle,
yeah.
Somewhere in there.
Well, this is what the last paragraph of the original ESPN story was talking about, was that the discount on the buyout, or the discount on the penalty, for leaving the conference would kick in 2031. Meaning that you couldn't say that, well, now 2031, you're free and clear, so you can negotiate to get out in 2029. It seems to be that they would want the language to be such that you're stuck until 2031 unless you want to pay full freight, which we're arguing in court right now.
I want to meet the person that that got the $15 million because they found the Van Gogh in the dusty garage sale, as it was described in Minnesota. That would cheer me up. I'd like to talk to them. What'd you think? Did you know? Did you have a suspicion that might be a Van Gogh? By the way, the painting itself is fantastic. It's this mopey fisherman. And he's got this funny hat on. He's smoking a pipe. It's like, yeah. What do you want me to do? That's the look he's got on his face.
We are all the mopey fishermen.
Today is a day of mopey fishermen. But the pipe looks inviting. I'm like, look at my man. Look at my man. It was painted 1889, and it was titled Elamar. And it would have been created when he was in the sanitarium. And, that would have been, they found it. It's pretty amazing. pretty effing amazing. He also, during that time, not only did Starry Night, but he did Almond Blossom, he did Irises, and then apparently this painting that somehow ended up in an effing garage sale in Minnesota, which is crazy.
I smell those almond blossoms.
He is transfixed, is this fisherman, on repairs to his net along a desolate shoreline, which no doubt has condos everywhere now. No doubt. He would be appalled, that fisherman, if he were to look. I talked about this the other day. This is how quickly it happens. Things happen like this. So when I was growing up in St. Pete, one of my brothers is 4 years older than me, and he's an avid fisherman, marine biologist, all these things, right? So he would always go cast netting down at the end of our street. I told the story where I dragged the fish in the cast net and all the blood, and then the sharks came, and I was an idiot. I was like, where are all these sharks coming? And I was scared to death. And he's like, because you're dragging the fish. We had to get out of the water.
I never heard that one.
I'll tell you. It's a good one. Anyhow, so we used to go clamming. You could go out to St. Pete Beach, and if you didn't go towards Treasure Island, if you went the other way, there was stretches of beach before you got to the Don Cesar. We'd be out there in the middle of the afternoon clamming. I sometimes wouldn't even see people. That was 40 years ago, which is, it's hard for me to stomach when I say that out loud now, but that was 40 years ago. What in the world? You could go Tuesday on a 50-degree day while it's raining in the middle of the winter time, and you would run across thousands of people there now. But there were days where I would have this big bushel of clams, and I wouldn't see more than 5 people on my way back to the car. It was incredible. Just thought you should know that, Tom. It's off the top of my head. I'm just thinking about this. That's ridiculous.
Sounds like you want to get away right now. That sounds like you want to go be secluded.
I want to go clamming around no people in condos.
With a cornbread gummy.
Oh, my Lord. I'm amazed. There was this report that they had to submit the art to, this group, this LMI group, and this art research center, and these 20 experts. They did, as thorough a once-over on this painting, for lack of a better term, as you could do, and produced a 458-page report. Good God, man. Crime and punishment. What are we doing? Good Lord. 458 pages to tell you it's authentic?
That's a self-indulgent author is what that is.
Well, we wanted to talk about the organic compound PR50. And if you turn to chapter 9, what are you talking about? How about the next page and we'll call it a day? What chapter 9? What are in the other 8 chapters before we get to talking about the organic compound? That's nuts to me. Well, sir, we had to make sure you understood that the red pigment of the paint was authentic. For 458 pages?
It's an inside job. It's all a lie. But they figure if they put it in 500 pages, you won't take the time. It's like a tax code.
The painting now will have to be officially attributed by the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam. If it is, and they believe it will be, and boy, what a wait for this individual. If it is, and again, they think it will be, then that's 15 million bones. God, dog it. That would be so cool. One of these days, Tom, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to have this kind of crazy news for you, and it's going to be about me. It's going to be about something that I found or had, an album, something where I'm like, look at this. I didn't know. I was sitting on the original of Goat's Head Soup. Can't believe it. This is a first print. Stone's Goat's Head Stew. Oh, man. What a day.
You would retire on the spot, wouldn't you?
No, I don't think I would. I thought about that the other day. I read somewhere in a different state, somebody won the lottery and they had a cool job.
You'd be working remote from a different place on Earth, though, right?
I probably would be. You'd see me in lots of locations doing the show.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
You just have a lot of townhomes or flats in different
Just places all over the world. Yes. Yeah. Where are we this week, Jeff? Well, I'm doing the show from Monaco. Oh.
You better find something better than 15 mil. Monaco.
Oh, a little flat in Monaco, Tom.
It's a 300 square foot studio.
This week, this is what I got. It's like living in New York City. It's like, that's what you got.
1 week rental.
Yeah.
$600K.
I would do something along those lines. I don't know. It'd be fun. But anyhow, Libations Friday edition tomorrow, and I won't make it as depressing. We won't hyper dwell on this awful place that Florida State finds themselves in. And I'm hoping that by that time, we do have something good to report. Like, hey, look, FSU came out and said they're going to fight it. They're going to keep pushing. Or, hey, you know what? The deal ended up being actually pretty close to what they're paying out in the SEC or the Big Ten. Something tells me that that's not going to be the case, that it's highly unlikely. I tend to have a bent towards the pessimistic side when it comes to something like this.
Yep. I'm putting even odds on provides a pathway as a phrase.
Language will matter, right?
Pathway. That's, opportunity, pathway, inroads, incentives. But I think pathway is the right word.
Both sides will want it framed that way. Because if they just gave you the stone cold truth of the numbers, you'd be like, well, this isn't even reasonable. In order to get anywhere close to that number, you've got to go to the playoff every year in football. You've got to make the NCAA tournament and reach at least the Sweet 16. Baseball's got to go to the College World Series every year.
It'll be on basketball only, apparently. Men's, women's, and football for these incentives. So, they're going to start caring about basketball results.
Hey, if this is the impetus for that, okay, I guess. I mean, can we do something here? Because we're just mired in the muck. Face down, back alley. Once again, getting kicked. Good work out of you. Be good, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Till tomorrow. Peace.